The following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. Today, the wide, fast, mysterious Pocono Triangle plays host to some of the greatest drivers in the world. For two of them, it's another step towards a first career NASCAR Winston Cup title, while an old warrior tries to recapture some of his past glory. Every driver will face one of the most difficult turns in Winston Cup racing 200 times. Just ahead, we preview the Pocono 500. Better than 120,000 fans have come to the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. The triangular Pocono International Raceway playing host to the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Father's Day 1999. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for choosing to spend your afternoon with NASCAR and TNN Motorsports. And if you'd like a little different slant to your racing, well, you've come to the right place. Different is clearly the operative term here at Pocono International Raceway. Some drivers have said it's clearly an oval designed by committee. The first time Sterling Marlin ever drove in here, he said, all right, whose idea of a practical joke is this anyway? Buddy Baker, you have raced here in the past. It is an interesting but strange racetrack.
You said it right there. 3 different type corners, 3 different type straightaways, flat corners. You have to handle here. You draft down the straightaways like you do at Daytona and Talladega. A very unusual type racetrack.
And you talk about unusual, that's also the starting lineup we've got for you here today. Dick Berggren, I guess we'd call this an upside-down starting lineup.
Oh, it really is, Eli. 8 of the top 10 starters in today's event have never won here at Pocono. Last year's winner, Jeremy Mayfield, didn't crack the top 20. Jeff Gordon has won here 3 of the last 6 times. He's going to start 17th. Terry Labonte's won twice here this race in the 90s. He didn't crack the top 30. So we're going to see some passing, and it's going to start right away.
And Glenn Jarrett, I dare say the fact that some of the familiar names are near the back has gotten a lot of folks' attention.
Oh, absolutely, Eli, no question about it. And you guys were talking about Jeff Gordon. I talked to Ray Evernham this morning. They brought a brand new race car here to Pocono this weekend. One patterned after a car that they had built in 1995, made it identical because it was so successful. Well, guess what? It's not working. And Ray told me a little while ago that as soon as this race is over, they're going to take it home, cut it up, and start over again. Here's Ralph Shaheen.
Dale Jarrett comes to the race here at Pocono as the points leader. He's also won twice here in Pocono, but both of those victories have come in July. The best he has ever done at the June race is 3rd. He's done that twice. The race car that he brings with him here today is the same car that he raced last week in Michigan, where he absolutely decimated the field. Steve Burns.
Hey, Ralph, Dale Jarrett has the points lead, but Jeff Burton is hot on his heels. Folks, he has 9 top 5 finishes, and that's how you win a championship. Jeff Burton is all smiles this year, but it didn't start out that way at Daytona. He got caught up in a wreck. But Jeff Burton has bounced back from that early season incident. He has a win at Las Vegas. He beat his brother Ward. And then at Darlington, crashing off turn 4, a strange win and celebrating in the win. And finally, the $1 million payoff in Charlotte during the 600. 9 top 5s, as I said, and 11 top 10s have him just 66 points out of the championship. And Jeff, you've been a winner for several years. Now you're a points contender. How have you done it?
Well, I think we came into this year more prepared. You know, experience helps drivers, it helps crew members, and I have more experience. Everybody on my team has more experience, and we've got a really good race team. We've got a bunch of young, energetic people that are willing to go the extra mile and work a lot of extra hours, and I get a lot of benefit from that.
And Eli, Jeff Burton said it's the little things that go a long way.
Indeed they do, and you take a look at the numbers from 1999. Add to that the fact he's only had a couple of finishes outside the top 11. Well, you get the idea that for Jeff Burton, this could be the year. Maybe not. Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, and others certainly have a lot to say about what goes on as we are just halfway through the season. But that's one of the new names we'll be talking about throughout the course of this year. And Glenn, Bobby Labonte is another one of those names we'll be talking about.
He is, Eli. Bobby Labonte has found the consistency that has eluded him in the past years. Lately, he's been an ace in qualifying. He's racked up a whole trophy case of Bud Pole Awards. 4 so far this year have led to 10 top 5 finishes with no DNFs. That consistency finally paid off at Dover, stretching his fuel load the final 107 miles all the way to the finish. That allowed Bobby Labonte to claim his first victory of the 1999 season. And we're standing by with Bobby Labonte right now. Bobby, you have had an incredible 2.8 average finish over the last 5 races. You guys have really hit this thing on the head lately.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the guys have done a great job. I mean, the car's been consistent week in and week out, and, you know, been lucky enough to finish these races and up watching the leaders at least, you know. So we've had a really good stretch of races here. We hope we can keep it going, but Pocono has not been the best track for me, but last time here we finished 4th, so it's a little encouraging. So hopefully we can get our Interstate Batteries Pontiac from our 3rd starting spot today and see what the track does for us and see what happens at the end.
A lot of times fuel mileage comes into play here. That could play right into your hands. It did at Dover.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're not planning on it right today, but I mean, right at this moment. But you know, we'll see what the race, how it plays out, and see what kind of fuel mileage we do get. If it works out in our favor, we'll try to take advantage of it. If it doesn't, you know, it doesn't.
Eli, in my recollection, the 18 car gets the best fuel mileage of anywhere here at Pocono.
But winning a race is different than winning a championship. Look at that list right there. Those are the only drivers in the last 15 years to win their first NASCAR Winston Cup Series championship. But think about it, this year, the top 5 in points, none of those drivers have won the Winston Cup. So indeed, 1999 could see another name added to that list. Lots more coming up, but as part of the pre-race activities here at Pocono today, the Federal Highway Administration was here showing the fans how to beware of a truck's blind spots while on the interstate. A good lesson we could all learn. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 preview is being brought to you by Midas. Midas goes safely. Go Midas. Last year at Pocono, Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace started up front, but it didn't take long for trouble to find Ken Schrader with a little help from his friends. Jeremy Mayfield was strong all day, passing his boyhood idol Darrell Waltrip for the late lead. He would never relinquish the lead. It was his first career NASCAR Winston Cup win.
Well, Jeremy Mayfield was the winner of this race last year, but you had your crew chief Paul Andrews with you then. A little bit different this year. How's it going this year as you get ready to start 23rd today?
Well, we're not very good qualifiers here, but we race good and got a great race car. You know, Peter and all the guys and Penske engines give us a good car and engines today, so we should be all right. We'll be okay.
What do you think is going to be the key to winning here at Pocono today?
Man, you got to have a good car, good stops, and good engine. You know, and that's what we got. Definitely have a good car today.
Eli?
Hi, guys. Thanks a lot. You know, I've not driven Pocono International Raceway, but certainly Buddy Baker has. As a matter of fact, won the very first Bud Pole here back when NASCAR came calling in 1974. It is not an easy racetrack, and now you guys didn't have overdrive transmissions. Now they do, so the shifting was something you even didn't have to deal with.
Yeah, well, we just set the car up and we had to watch the tack down the front straightaway because it is the longest straightaway in all of racing. Well, let's talk. One great thing about television, we can make a lap out there and show you what we're talking about.
You see the triangular shape of the racetrack riding now with Darrell Waltrip on the main straightaway as he drove the Pennzoil car for Steve Park a year ago.
Yeah, this is going down the long straightaway. He's getting ready to go into turn 1. You see him turning in. That's the entry. Now you'll see him shift right there as he starts down towards the Long Pond straightaway.
And this straightaway is your basic straight, better than 3,000 feet to what might be the toughest single turn in all of NASCAR, the tunnel turn.
Around 195 miles an hour as he approaches the tunnel turn, down to the bottom. Now the car will sweep out towards the outside wall and down the short chute right here.
And that short chute, better than 1,000 feet, takes you towards turn number 3, which is the flat turn, kind of like a road course.
Exactly, and you go right down against the apron there on the bottom side of the racetrack, sweep out towards the outside wall. This is where you make your engine man either look bad or good. If you get off that corner clean, you can fly down the front straightaway.
You're doing 200 miles an hour right there, and who better, Steve, than to give us that tour than Darrell Waltrip?
And Eli, Darrell Waltrip has 4 wins on this racetrack. Remember last year, he had a great run in the #1 car, filling in for Steve Park. but his smiles at Pocono a year ago have turned into frustration in 1999. He's tried hard, but they haven't been able to make up time. The team got started late in their preparation. At Texas, he went out early. Martinsville, though, he finished 12th. At Charlotte, lost a motor. Another frustrating moment for Darrell Waltrip. And at Dover, he failed to make just the second race of his tremendous Winston Cup career. The three-time Winston Cup champion. And who will ever forget, last year, Darrell, I talked to you after this race, and you had tears in your eyes. You were so ecstatic. How about today?
Pretty good today again. You know, right now we're just really trying to get caught back up. We were 23rd in the points before the weekend of Charlotte, and from there to now we're back to 35th in the points. So we've really taken a beating the last few weeks. Fleet, Lopez, everybody knows, and then Derek Finley have come over from the one car. We had a great relationship there. They're with me now. I believe this will be the weekend as last year that we'll turn it all around, get going in the right direction again. We've got a good car today, and I think we're going to have a pretty good run.
All right, good luck, champ. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
I want to say Happy Father's Day to everybody, too.
Got to get that in.
Dad, my dad, anyway.
Finally healthy, Steve Park is starting to make some noise on the Winston Cup circuit. Last month, he ran in the top 5 at Richmond before a cut tire slowed him down. Then at Charlotte, he led 84 laps, the most of his career, but he crashed late in the race and had to settle for a 42nd place finish. He finally held things together at Michigan last week, claiming his best career finish at 6th, and he's hoping to add to and maintain that momentum here at Pocono today. Steve, you guys have been fast here. You've been real good in the last few weeks. It's been great for you. Can you maintain that momentum here today at Pocono?
We certainly hope so, Glenn. I mean, the team's really come together with the addition of Paul Andrews, and you know, we're just hoping that this Pennzoil team can keep the momentum it's had over the last 3 weeks and try to get another top 10 here at Pocono.
All right, you've been real fast here. Is this a car that you really like? Is this one that you've raced before, but this car is fast at Pocono?
Yeah, it is. It's fast at Pocono. We came here and tested before Michigan, and then you know, we took it to Michigan and got our first top 10 finish with it. We were so happy with the car, we turned it around and brought it back here. So we're pretty excited about our chances today, and we just need to get it underway, and we've got some great weather, and we're pretty excited about our chances this weekend.
Okay, they're getting ready to introduce Steve. Go ahead, we'll let you go now. And Eli, you know, Steve Park first came here in 1979 with his father, Bob, for a modified race.
And then Steve drove 3 modified races of his own here, but this is his first NASCAR Winston Cup start. But a great season for Steve, a great career as he gets himself set with those numbers to bank on and trying to build on the performance of Charlotte just a few weeks ago. As part of pre-race activities here in Pocono today, the Pennsylvania Lottery Commission was giving away a pace car. 10 folks qualified for a chance to open the door to that car. Christina Krukowski had the lucky key. We congratulate her here at Pocono. Plenty of trouble at Pocono in June of 1995. First, Dale Jarrett was sent spinning. Then Ward Burton spun directly in front of race leader Jeff Gordon. Rusty Wallace had problems in turn 3. Then late in the day, Gordon missed a shift on a restart, handing the lead and the win to teammate Terry Labonte.
On that day that Terry ended up getting the win when Jeff missed a shift, he started 27th on the field. Now, Terry, today you're going to start 33rd. Obviously, one can win from the back end of the field here at Pocono, but how tough is that?
Oh, it's hard, really. You know, your car has to really run good and handle good and run good down the straightaways. Everything's got to go your way to win from this far back. But this is a racetrack that you can do it at, you know. But it all depends on how your car's working.
What is the story with this team? Last 2 weeks been a little rough for you guys. What's going on?
It really has, and we came back and had to qualify second round, and we were second round fastest Saturday. But we've just had a tough time qualifying here lately. We seem to run pretty good once the race gets going. But so I don't know. Hopefully we've turned the corner here.
Eli, his 617th straight start in a NASCAR Winston Cup race.
Out of 621 in his career, truly the Iron Man of the sport. Dick Bergman, you and I both spent time in the garage area this morning, and most of the teams have been here many, many times. I was actually shocked as to how many drivers and team members, crew chiefs, are still trying to figure out the right gear ratio for this racetrack.
No, gear ratio is so important here at Pocono. You've got to run the engine as tight as possible without blowing the thing up. I mean, we lost 8 engines here in this race last year. But it's not just gear ratio, it's aerodynamics, it's brakes, and everything seems to really come to a head at this long front straightaway, and particularly going into the first turn at the end of that straightaway.
And that first turn turn, as we had talked earlier, is really a turn that has the least amount of banking of any 200-mile-an-hour turn that you've got in NASCAR. As a matter of fact, Ken Schrader and Mark Martin had these thoughts.
Well, you'll be 4 wide, which is the problem, you know, down the straightaways, because it's so long and so wide, and everybody will be trucking up, and you'll be 4 wide, and then as you get down there, it's like, okay, guys, only one's going to make it, you know. Oh, did I tell you, you got to really climb all over the brakes, and you need to shift, too. Now would be a good time to shift, so it just gets real busy down there, but terrible place for a brake failure or something like that, because, I mean, I don't exactly know how fast we run there, but it is fast.
It is for the first few times you're going there, or the first few years, depending on what a chicken you are. It is a little bit unsettling to go into turn 1 with all that speed. If things went bad for you, they could go really bad in that turn. They don't very often, but you know, they could.
They really could. We have seen some very hellacious accidents up in turn number 1 over the years. But here on Friday, when they ran for the Bud Pole, Sterling Marlin just nailed that corner the way it's supposed to be driven.
Yeah, that and the other 2 corners as well. It took him 28 tries to win his first pole ever at Pocono, but he sure did it right here on Friday. Brand new race car.
As a matter of fact, he was so good in turn 1 and the tunnel turn and turn 3 that his crew chief Tony Glover was on the radio to Sterling before he even got back to the start-finish line and said, friend, he said, you've got the pole covered.
Yeah, but he's got his work cut out for him in today's race, because the pole winner has only gone on to win this June race 3 times at Pocono.
So when you get a lap like that, you sit on the pole. And for Sterling Marlin, first time he's been on the pole in 122 starts, Steve. It's been a long time.
Eli, I believe it was July 21st of 1995. As you said, 122 starts for Sterling Marlin, but of 46 cars taking times on Friday, Sterling Marlin was indeed the fastest, and Sterling was the only driver to crack the 170-mile-an-hour barrier. It's great to start first, but today he wants to finish first. Let's go to Ralph.
Steve, Bill Elliott has had great success over the past here at Pocono Raceway. This year, well, things just really started to turn around the last couple of weeks. Had a pretty good run going in Michigan before an oil line broke. Here at Pocono, he's qualified on the 2nd row. He'll start 4th today. Could maybe be another good day at Pocono for Bill Elliott. Eli?
You take a look at Bill Elliott's career achievements, and they're outstanding, but particularly here at Pocono International Raceway, Bill Elliott is one of those who, anytime he shows up, and particularly when he qualifies as well as he has here this weekend, he is going to be a threat to head to victory lane. It was nice to see today in pre-race ceremonies the fact that the Pennsylvania legislature made a proclamation to Richard Petty and the Petty family for their 50 years of involvement in NASCAR racing, with Kyle and Richard, and of course Lee Petty back home. A nice honor today here at Pocono. Strange sights and heavy traffic at Pocono in June of 1993. Rookie Jeff Gordon's day ended early against the outside wall. This fan decided to leave early, the hard way. It was really the only scare for Kyle Petty, who dominated on his way to the win here at Pocono. It was a picture-perfect day for Kyle Petty. And by the way, folks, if you are looking for the ride of your lifetime during today's running of the Pocono 500, why not click on to TNNRacing.com. You can ride along with your choice of in-car cameras, fan scan, scanner talk, and the Internet's hottest and most popular interactive multimedia racing features. It's all at TNNRacing.com. Why not log on right now? Welcome back to Pocono. Buddy Baker is alongside. I remember years ago when I used to cover turn 1 on the radio broadcasts here, everybody used to in those days set up for turn 1 because it was the highest speed, highest banking of all the corners. Not anymore.
Eli, we did a lot of things differently back then. We had a much heavier car. You see turn 1 there. That was the key. Getting down that front straightaway, making a pass, getting into turn 1, because we didn't shift. But now you accelerate so much quicker down the back straightaway. Then up in the short chute up there, as you see right going through the tunnel turn there, that sets you up to that short chute you're looking at. You slide the car through there, and you need something to really pull you down through there. A long time ago, we kind of lugged the car through there. So we didn't get a real fast run in the turn 3. That is the key to getting around Pocono. If you get off turn 3, your motor man's going, yes, baby, we're going now.
Of course, when you talk about turn number 3, it's also the area where the RPMs drop way down. I'm surprised that in some respects these teams don't approach this more like a true bona fide road course.
Well, it is a road course, but the one thing you have to remember, you're running almost 200 miles an hour down both straightaways, the Long Pond straightaway, and of course the biggest straightaway in all of racing, the front straightaway.
As a matter of fact, we had a chance to chat with some of the crew chiefs here at Pocono and talk about their particular choice as to how to get around here quickly and if they have any old secrets stashed away for today's race.
Turn 1, you pretty much just have to survive through, and you've got to be fairly good or not dangerously loose through the tunnel turn anyway. So we try and concentrate on 3 as the first corner, tunnel turn second, and then whatever we have left to do turn 1 with is pretty much all we have.
Generally, you always try to get through the tunnel turn. That's one of the fastest places on the racetrack. You want to get through there as well as you can. You always end up even giving up a little bit in 3 or a little bit in 1. I mean, you're going to be maybe loose off 1 and you'll be tight off 3 or something. You can't fix both ends.
If you get beat to the gas in turn 3, it's going to hurt you on this straightaway, and you're going to be screaming at the motor man. The motor ain't running. But if you can get your car to get back to the throttle way back over in the middle, the motor man's going to be smiling because he's going to say, man, this motor looks good.
Well, I guess you've gotten the idea. Talk to 10 different people. You'll get 10 different thoughts as to how to run well here at Pocono International Raceway. Best thing to do is bring up that easy chair closer to the screen and stay with us. We'll all find out together who's got it figured out. TNN Motorsports with live coverage of the NASCAR Pocono 500 next. Following is a special presentation of TNN Motorsports. The tide of spring has brought 3 teams to the top of the heap. But with the summer comes the long, hot grind that will bring the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship into focus. The Pocono 500 is the gateway to that summer of speed. The goal today will be to keep that spring momentum rolling.
He's got 2 more with him now. He's got 2 more with him.
Here's a good look at the triangular-shaped Pocono Raceway. The 3 distinctly different turns present a real challenge for the teams. Turn 1's 14-degree banking is probably the easiest to negotiate. From there, the Long Pond straightaway is 3,055 feet, leading to an 8-degree bank turn 2, the tunnel turn. Then the 1,780-foot backstretch brings you down into turn 3, a long, almost flat sweeping turn that can present real problems. Trouble there can make the 3,740-foot front stretch seem even longer. Momentum off turn 3 is crucial. Then there's a problem of shifting. Do you shift, and where do you shift? 3 different turns, 3 different bankings, 3 distinct sets of problems at Pocono Raceway that can make maintaining momentum for these top contenders really tough.
And Dale Jarrett is looking for his 3rd win on this unique racetrack. He won in 95 and again in 97. In 99, he has 2 wins. How about a 3rd one here? He was dominant last week at Michigan. And folks, Dale Jarrett hasn't finished worse than 8th in the last 11 races. And folks, that's why he's leading the points race right now.
Last year, Jeremy Mayfield was in the points chase and desperately needed a win when they came to Pocono. With the help of then crew chief Paul Andrews, Jeremy career victory here. Andrews is now with Steve Park, who's looking for his first win as well, driving the car that Darrell Waltrip drove to 6th here last year at Pocono. There's a whole list of other names at the top of the field. They're looking for their first wins here at Pocono. The field has come to life. The engines are on in these 750 horsepower NASCAR Winston Cup machines. The helmets are on, the window nets are up. The Pocono 500 is next, live on TNN Motorsports.
They call the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania the honeymoon capital of the world. But trust me, when the green flag drops today, the honeymoon ends. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series has come to Pocono International Raceway for the Pocono 500. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Pocono International Raceway. To those of you celebrating, a very happy Father's Day to you. I'm Elise Gold's dad. My name is Eli, and it's a tickle for all of us to be here today and spend this Sunday afternoon with you. You talk about racing, you talk about maybe wanting something a little different. Well, that is the storyline here at Pocono, a tough, tough racetrack where a lot of drivers have been coming for many, many years and have never been able to pick up a victory. We've got Brian and Brandon Baker's daddy alongside me. Buddy Baker is here, who back in 1974, you won the pole, Buddy, at a speed 26 miles an hour slower than what Sterling Marlin won the pole on Friday here. What's the difference?
Kind of like a canoe and a power boat, but let me just explain a little bit. The tires are much wider now. The cars are much more aerodynamic, and they shift now. We didn't shift when I first got here, so that made the speeds down just a little bit. And a little thing like 250 horsepower.
Just a little thing like 250 horsepower. Joy the Airedale is happy to see her daddy on the TV today as well. Dick Berggren is with us, and this is a tough racetrack. Driver, crew chief alike, nobody has an easy Sunday at Pocono.
Yeah, especially the drivers. They do bear a mountain of responsibility at this place. With 3 turns that are so very different, the crews just can't set the cars up to handle perfectly in all 3. So the driver is going to have his hands full in at least one of them, maybe 2, maybe all 3. He's got to take good care of his transmission as he shifts at nearly 200 miles an hour. He's got to watch his fuel. This is a fuel economy track. He's got to be ever so careful down this long front straightaway as the cars fan out 2, 3, 4, 5 wide. He can't bang into anybody as he does that. Now, the winning driver at any racetrack always gets the gold and the glory. Around here, probably deserves it more than any other track on the Winston Cup circuit.
You see the field having pulled off the pit lane, getting set to go racing. 200 laps, 500 miles at Pocono. Next on TNN Motorsports. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil. Add more life to your car. By the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. By Exide, NASCAR Select, the official automotive battery of NASCAR. And by Ford, the official truck of NASCAR is built Ford tough. Welcome back. The temperature is in the 70s. We have had absolutely magnificent weather here in the Poconos this weekend. New grandstands installed, bringing the capacity to nearly 130,000 fans. Now the AutoZone prep for the race brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And there you see all the different winners in the last 9 Winston Cup races this year. And remember that here at Pocono International Raceway, there have been 10 different winners in the last 14 events at this track alone. So there is nothing predictable today except that it's going to be unpredictable. There again, the look at Pocono International Raceway. You know, there was a reason behind all this when they first built the racetrack.
Pray tell.
They wanted to have one turn that the stock car guys would be used to, like a Daytona, not quite as high bank, but some. Then one turn, the tunnel turn, that would be something that would be comfortable for the Indy cars. When USAC used to run here, then they said, well, heck, you got to do something for those road course guys. And they threw turn 3 in. They couldn't quite figure out how best to do it, so they said, let's throw one of each in, and here we are with our triangular racetrack. checking out the starting lineup for today's Pocono 500 first pole for Sterling Marlin, as Steve Burns told you, since 1995, and Dale Jarrett, the dominator at Michigan a weekend ago. Bobby Labonte, 5th place last week, and for Bill Elliott, his best 99 start. And Dick, you know, when Bill Elliott qualifies that well, it's not without anybody's thinking twice that we might be talking about him in victory lane.
His crew this morning thinks that he has got a great car. These fans are just so excited about Elliott. He did that run and they were screaming. They went nuts.
Mark Martin, always a factor. Tony Stewart wadded up a race car here during testing a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he said all he got out of that was a lot of respect from the body man, and now he knows what he can't do, so he's ready to go.
There's Ricky Rudd, 3 second-place finishes here in his 40th Pocono start. Middle of the field, that's going to be interesting to watch. Jeff Gordon coming up from 17th. Joe Nemechek's had a couple of top 10s here. And remember, even in Richard Petty's latter days in his career, that STP Pontiac always ran well here.
Yes, and John Andretti seems to run very, very well where Richard Petty used to run very, very well. His win this year in Martinsville, took on 2 tires and went out there and just run by everybody on the racetrack.
There's Dale Earnhardt with 2 Pocono wins, though they have never come in June, always in July. And first race of this year in Winston Cup for Jeff Green. Dick Trickle and the 4-time winner Darrell Waltrip. What an emotional weekend a year ago when he came home 6th here.
Yeah, he was a terrific weekend then. The car's not quite as good today, but they're going to work on it, see if they can get Darrell Waltrip toward the front.
Couple of Pocono 500 victories for Terry Labonte. Only 1 top 5 and 20 visits here for Ernie Irvan. This has been a tough racetrack for him. Brett Bodine won here in a modified. He said it's nice to think about, but it won't help him much today. Kyle Petty, Jimmy Spencer from just up the road in Berwick, Pennsylvania.
Kyle Petty's the only guy that ever won at Pocono, got out and did his own video from the top of the race car. He knows how to win here.
And there's Robert Presley bringing up the rear of the field. 3 teams failed to qualify here this weekend. They were Derek Cope. He was on hand but couldn't quite muster the speed needed, along with Loy Allen and also Hut Strickland. There you see NASCAR Winston Cup points, brought to you by Haviland. And Tony Stewart. He said to me yesterday, I guess it was a Friday, he said, you know, by wadding up that race car here and testing, he said, kind of let everybody know that I'm human. He said, you hear all this stuff about me being a natural, being a this, or being a that. He goes, yeah, I like to drive race cars and I do all right. He said, that just proves to everybody that I'm normal.
This will be a racetrack that'll teach you you're normal, too, if you try to overdrive it.
It'll teach you your limits as well.
You a Ford fan or a Chevy fan, or you like the Pontiacs? That's how they're all stacking up here in 1999. Glad you're with us. This is always a fun day here at Pocono International Raceway. Pace car pulls in. 130,000 fans say, let's get it on. And here we go. Watch them flare out here on this wide main straightaway, heading back towards turn number 1. You can use 8 lanes wide on the main straightaway, then you shuttle back into a single file formation if you can.
Quite a few of them call 3 wide there as they go through the corners.
Led 14 of the 15 races this year, including every super speedway race.
Never won here at Pocono. He'd be a good choice to win. You want to pick a winner early on? Try Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett, or Mark Martin. Each one of them has had a top 5 finish in each of the last 4 Pocono races.
Watching Bobby Labonte go down Long Pond straightaway just behind his Sterling Marlin, and a car you may not recognize, the 98 there of Rick Mast.
He's got that Woody Woodpecker sponsorship on board. Look at him go over that tunnel. Wally Diamondback sideways. Jeff Burton is into the wall.
This is big for Jeff Burton right here. Hopefully he gets through there. Nobody's hit him yet. He has a little damage to the right front corner, it looks like.
Remember, Burton is second in points, 66 behind Jarrett. And Wally Diamondback.
Come on around. No smoke. Come on around one.
Damage to the front of the 25 car there, Wally Diamondback.
You heard Wally Diamondback's radio communication. Oh, a lot of damage on Jeff Burton's car. This could be huge.
It already is, Eli. That's going to take a while to fix. One thing that's up there is all your venting, all your cooling system, everything. You can see how much damage to the nose piece of that race car.
They thought they had the car to beat this morning. I talked to most of the top crew chiefs today. Frankie Stoddard, crew chief on this race car, said this is our best chance ever to win Pocono.
Help me get it up.
All sorts of parts and debris on the racetrack.
A shredded tire there. Jeff Burton's car is really, really damaged. They'll have to take some of that nose piece off there and try to get air into the radiator and all. If it didn't bust it already, I see steam out of the radiator there.
Ralph, it's not pretty.
No, Eli, it's not. All the tires are flat, and the radiator is tore out of the car. The engine is shut off. They have just called to pull the car back behind the wall. Frankie Stoddard has told the crew, get the car back behind the wall so we can get the radiator in the car. They're going to get all the toolbox stuff out and ready to go. They're going to help back the car behind the wall and go to work on it.
Now, if there's any kind of consolation, as Wally's car is being pushed also, if there's any kind of consolation, is that a caution lap here at Pocono takes forever to run. So, yes, you're going to lose a lot of time, but you're not going to lose a ton of laps. But it's going to be very, very significant. There's Michael Waltrip's car with a little problem there. Everybody kind of got caught up there. Let's see if we can figure out exactly what happened as they pushed Jeff Burton to the garage. Guys, let's take a look here.
That's already underway.
Already underway there.
That's where Burton got all the damage in the front end. He hit the wall.
That's Jeff Burton right down there as he slides in front of all these cars. In some way, everybody missed him as they come towards him there. You see cars going out in the grass to avoid him.
That's why they call them the best drivers in the world. It happens directly in front of that bunch right there. I guess Wally and Jeff must have tangled.
Look at Mark Martin and the 6 just go by as the 25 car Diamondback spins. That's a and Jeff Gordon and all the guys. Look at them jumble up there.
One more look right there in the aftermath of the accident.
Watch the 43 there of John Andretti. A lot of cars very close to getting involved in that wreck.
A lot of other guys, Glenn, have gotten some involvement, albeit somewhat slight.
Yeah, Eli, I'm on my way down to Joe Nemechek's pits. I just happened to see him ride by. He's got some pretty good damage to the left front fender. Just gotten into the pit here. They've got the left front tire off of the car right now. And it only looks to be like sheet metal. It's got the nose crimped in a little bit in the left front fender. It's going to hurt him down the long straightaways. But I don't believe it's any chassis damage or anything like that. So they're working up under the car right now, trying to beat that fender back out to make sure it doesn't get against the tire. But Joe was one of those guys that just got caught up in that incident.
Yeah, his best career finish in Winston Cup was here back in July of '94 when he finished third. You saw other cars leaving the pit lane. Kyle Petty has been in. Jeffrey Bodine pitted. So did Jerry Nadeau. A lot of work going on early at Pocono. Welcome back to Pocono under caution. Lap number 2. Wally Diamondback and Jeff Burton got together. Folks, log on now to TNNRacing.com for a live, free, exclusive webcast of today's Pocono 500. It is the ultimate internet experience with your choice of viewing in-car cameras, listening to the fan scan, team scanner talk, all sorts of other multimedia racing features. So fire up your web browsers right now to TNNRacing.com. A lot of work in the garage area. Ralph's with Jeff Burton's team.
Eli, they're working feverishly on the car. Jeff sits patiently in the cockpit. Jeff, what happened out there?
Well, the 25 car wasn't his fault. He got off the corner and he either got tight or loose. I couldn't tell which. And I just touched him a little bit. I had a good run on him. I got off the gas and tried to get checked up, but didn't get checked up in time. And I caught him, and when it did, he spun, and then I tried to go around him and ended up hitting him. But, you know, it wasn't his fault. It was when the guy in the back hits the guy in the front, it's the guys in the back's fault. And, you know, I don't think I was being too aggressive. He had to get out of the gas, and I was in the gas, and I couldn't get slowed down in time. So just one of those things, I guess.
All right, Jeff, thank you. Eli, the key is going to be when they fix this car, they need to get as much of the body work back on the car as they can. Talking to Frankie Stoddard, he wants to keep as much of the body on because aerodynamics is important here at Pocono. Steve Burns?
Hey, Ralph, Wally Dallenbach's here. His crew also working hard. Wally, you had a great starting position. What put you out this early?
I'm not sure. You know, we all got down in there in a tunnel turn, and things were pretty jammed up, and 99 car got in the back of me and turned me around, and yeah, too bad. It's just some things already started. These races, things get really jammed up over there, and I think everybody was just kind of like an accordion effect. But, you know, next thing I knew, I was going sideways, so we tore up a good race car.
Wally, I see the team. You got a brand new nose piece. You're redoing some of the hoses. Can you get it back out today?
Yeah, we'll get it back out. You know, no fun getting it back out and running like this, but you know, we had an opportunity to get the 15th in the points today, and we don't want to lose a whole lot, so they'll get it fixed, and we'll go out and stroke around till the end of the race.
All right, tough break for Wally Dallenbach. Glenn Jarrett?
Okay, I'm down to Jeff Gordon's pits, and he's got some kind of problem, guys. They're not really sure what it is right now. They're worried about the left front. They think that the car is bottoming out on the left front, and they're suspecting that they may have a shock gone bad, or maybe he ran over something on the racetrack that has damaged it. But right now, a little bit of a problem. They're not going to bring him in now and give up the track position because they haven't run the car long enough to really feel what it's doing. But a lot of concern down here in the 24 pit.
Well, some interesting goings on, huh?
Yeah, and you can see on the right rear corner, he has some damage. We were looking just a second ago at the back of the 24 car. Somebody got in the back of him as he was trying to slow down to miss the wreck. So the left front looks okay to me right now. I can't see anything. But if a shock blows out, they're gas-filled shocks. And if it does blow out, that's a real problem because the spring itself won't hold it up.
I'll tell you, a very gentlemanly answer from Jeff Burton, too. Oftentimes, guys will point fingers at the other fella. Jeff handled that as you'd expect Jeff Burton, too, with class.
Yes, like a man. He took the blame, and you don't hear that many times. Most people look for something if they have a wreck.
Jeff and Wally are both already 3 laps down as we get set to go racing. So, again, they're going to lose a lot of laps, but not as many as if at a racetrack where you make laps in 30 seconds. Here it takes you right at a minute to make a lap. Green back in the air. There'll be a stop-and-go penalty for Mike Skinner. He passed to the left on the restart. And he'll be coming in for a stop-and-go penalty.
Well, you try to anticipate the start there, and apparently he got to the inside, and you can't pass on the inside until you pass the flag stand.
That's the tunnel turn because it goes over the tunnel. It goes from the infield to outside of the racetrack. That's why they call it the tunnel turn. Drivers will tell you that that is the toughest turn in all of NASCAR Winston Cup racing. Did you subscribe to that, buddy, or was maybe Darlington a little tougher or somewhere else?
I have to say that's one of the toughest turns, and the reason for it is you go down that long back straightaway at close to 195 miles an hour, and you turn in there, you don't get on the brake, you slide the car through that corner, and it is a corner much like Indianapolis is what they tried to copy, that one corner there.
Oh, trouble up into the wall. Rusty Wallace has problems. Caution on the speedway, lap number 7. Rusty Wallace in the turn 1 wall.
Eli, I don't know what happened, but there's black marks that start way back up on the straightaway there and go straight up towards the wall. You can see him going in towards the wall there where he got into it.
And there was a lot of smoke, and that smoke certainly was from the tire marks. I wonder if the throttle hung.
Rusty has had such bad luck here over the years, leading and then having to pit for fuel late, leading and having a tire go down. He's had more bad luck at this track than most any other tracks combined. Back back with you here at Pocono International Raceway on Father's Day. A lot of dads on hand. Hey, by the way, want the latest racing news or the latest doings from the world of country music? Country.com is where TNN hangs out on the World Wide Web. Might want to dial it up on your web browser and see exactly what's going on. So many fans took advantage of Country.com during Fanfare in Nashville last week, country music's high holy days. Whatever your interests, log on to Country.com, your personal source for all things country. Jeff Gordon taking an opportunity here to make a pit stop. And the question about the shock absorber, Glenn, we see one ready to go.
Yeah, they've got a new one, Eli. They're not going to take any chances. They're going to take the opportunity during this caution flag period to come in and change that shock. That's exactly what they're doing. They evidently found that the shock is bad, so they're going to. And now I'll find out exactly what they've done. They found something pretty quick there. I'll get a word with Ray and Ed here in just a minute to find out exactly what's happening. Jeff is down and away. The work that they did on the front end was all that they had to do. I'm going to go over here and ask Ray Evernham right now if we can find out what it was. Ray, what was the problem?
I can't tell you right now. Just the left front shock looks like that it's given up on us. We're going to let them run a little bit of time on it and see. But when we got in there, we looked for oil. Wasn't leaking any shock oil. Right now, I'm just worried that the tire pressure on the left front's a little bit too low and the car's bottoming out. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 tires on it.
Okay, they will bring him back in.
Meanwhile, the reason we're into caution is for Rusty Wallace, who impacted the turn 1 wall. And you see his car being brought back around to the garage area. Take a look at what happened.
Eli, this is you can see when the right front tire blows out. Right there, he takes off. You can see the black marks hard into the outside wall. We have several angles. One where it just shows the tire exploding as he goes into the corner.
And here comes that look. Watch it here.
Okay, right there, you can see the right front just exploded, and he's on his way there. You see him lock the brakes up as he goes up. These black marks right there go right straight up into the wall.
And that is right at 200 miles an hour. It may not look it sometimes because it is such a wide and long straightaway. It's right around that shifting point and so on. It really is a tough spot. Drivers have one hand on the steering wheel, hand on the gear shifter, praying the brake pedal is there, and that's what happened to Rusty Wallace. We're a lap away from going green, so stick around. Robin Pemberton and the crew waiting for the car to come back to the garage. Back to racing on TNN Motorsports.
Look at him fan out.
Wow. Were you guys as bold as that?
Oh, yeah. We were the perfect drivers back in. Number 2 hat, number 14 shoe. You can see him down there. Oh, John Andretti very high there. He and Jeremy Mayfield made a little contact getting in the corner.
I like that. Size 2 hat, size 14 shoe.
You got it.
That's the Long Pond straightaway, 3,055 feet, named after the town we're in, Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Over the tunnel turn. Then the north straightaway, 1,780 feet, a fairly short straightaway, leading to turn 3, only 6 degrees. There you see Mark Martin in the 6 car. He's in 8th spot right now.
And Ricky Rudd on the back of him there. A little bit of damage on the right rear corner of Ricky Rudd's car, but he seems to really be running well today. It's good to see him having a pretty good day.
And a lead change at the start-finish line. Rick Mast, first race he has led in 1999, takes Woody Woodpecker to the front at lap number 12.
I knew you were going to do that.
Well,
yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. And Rick Mast, a very, very talented driver. I guess for the past couple of years has been very underrated as far as what he can do on the racetrack.
Team has definitely struggled this year, no question about it, and Mast has admitted it in his conversations here. He said they started the year short on cars. They began the year without a sponsor, just picked it up last weekend at Michigan, so now they got a few dollars and got a little thing together here as well, and Mast had a good qualifying run. Now he's leading the race at Pocono.
A lot of you folks know the story, but if you're new to NASCAR racing, Rick Mast sold a family cow to buy his first race car. He took the proceeds from old Bessie and bought himself a race car.
And if he wins today, he can buy the dairy. There you have it.
There's Elliott Sadler. Saw him shift right there through turn number 1. Kenny Irwin, he's running in 13th right now, heading to the tunnel turn. Ricky Rudd right behind Kenny Schrader. They're battling for 10th and 11th.
What you're trying to do is get under him there. You see Ricky Rudd have track position now. Schrader has nothing to do, but he has to back out and let the cars on the bottom side get by him there.
They see still the 99 car, the Exide Batteries Ford, still in the garage area. They are now 11 laps down, as is Wally Dallenbach. There's Bill Elliott. He's in 7th. In the McDonald's machine, the Steel onboard camera. And Bobby Labonte right behind Rick Mast. In the garage area now, Wally Dallenbach, Jeff Burton, and Rusty Wallace's car made it in. Robin Pemberton is the crew chief.
Eli, the good news is Rusty Wallace just walked in to see his race car. Robin, the car's right behind you. What happened?
Going down the front stretch, going into 1, he said the tire come apart. I'm sure he run over some debris. There's, big wreck behind him there, and might have had a slow leak from the caution or whatever. So things like that happen.
Looks like it's used up pretty much for the day.
It tore stuff off the engine. That's how hard it hit. So we're going to look at it, maybe try to get back out, but it looks a little grim right now.
A tough break, Eli. They came in here 9th in the point standings.
They sure did. A lot of top point guys are now beginning to fall by the wayside. See the way they snaked down that front straightaway? I guess Neil Bonnet started that, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and he beat me doing it. But one thing I was going to tell you, it's like a Congo line. They do draft here, and the front car gets through the air so well it turbulates behind and pulls the cars that are in line. It brings them right up. I will tell you this, bad news is on its way. Dale Jarrett just moved into 2nd.
But this is a good battle right here, too. Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt now running in 9th and 10th spots. Earnhardt, a 2-time winner here.
Eli, when you hear them in the center of the corner, they just tap the throttle because you do just kind of glide through the corners. You don't want to overdrive the corners and get the car to pushing off the corners. It hurts the straightaway speed immensely.
We are 16 of 200 laps into the event. Rick Mast took the lead at lap number 12. We ride now with Ricky Rudd, and there's the aerial view of he, along with Earnhardt and Schrader. And now from those guys, it is 4.5 seconds forward to that group of cars. Rick Mast with Dale Jarrett now right behind him. I think if Jarrett had gone out and dominated this weekend like he did in Michigan, there were going to be some fist fights in the garage. A lot of guys just scratching their heads, wondering how in the world they were so totally outclassed a weekend ago.
Well, we asked him about that in the garage area, and he said he really doubted that anyone would dominate here at Pocono the way he dominated at Michigan. As we watch him snake down the front straightaway, he said the reason that he was able to dominate was that there were no caution flags this last weekend. He said here we're going to have caution flags. That gives the crews an opportunity to work on the cars, adjust them, and get them faster.
Steve Burns is with Rusty Wallace in the garage.
Eli, first things first, Rusty, you look okay. You hit a lick.
It's probably one of the hardest hits I've ever had in my life. I tell you that. I mean, to hit that wall head on at 200. When I was going at it, I thought, oh my God. And I just got way down in the seat because I knew it was going to hit hard. And to be walking around with nothing hurt, I can't feel anything. It's fine. I'm fine. But to see him over there working on a car, trying to fix that car, really amazes me because I thought it'd be just total junk, and they're working on it like they can get it back in. So we'll see.
Good luck, and we understand Ken Schrader has trouble on the backstretch.
Yep, as everybody at home can well see, left front tire.
Yeah, and all that stuff that's dragging right there, that's cubic dollars right there because that's the headers, that's the bottom parts of the A-frame. That car is really doing a lot of damage to the running gear as it drags around the racetrack here.
Schrader's run well here at Pocono. He's got 5 pole positions here. He's finished 2nd twice, but he says he just doesn't like this place. Maybe it's stuff like this and the fact that he crashed out hard last year in this same race.
Using his Michigan car here today, They took it to the shop after Michigan to try and give it a little more downforce, which you need here.
His teammate is in as well, right behind him. Kenny Wallace is on pit road as well.
Here's a battle for the lead, though. Heading to turn 3, Dale Jarrett got it.
Be interesting to see how Rick Mast and Bobby Labonte can run just behind him there as they come off the first 3 nose to tail down the front straightaway.
So the third leader of the day after Bobby Labonte led laps 1 through 11. Rick Mast led laps 12 through 18. Now Dale Jarrett shows the way at Pocono. Dale Jarrett is now the man on the move. In 1995, though, driving the Texaco Haviland Ford, he got himself into a pretty strong battle, but showed folks that he could win in NASCAR Winston Cup racing. He celebrates along with team owner Robert Yates, who said, finally, a win. Dale Jarrett, 1995. That is Dale Jarrett today. Remember that time span, guys, where very honestly folks were saying, well, I wonder if that Jarrett guy can really get the job done?
That sure is what they were talking about. There was a lot of conversation that if he didn't win soon, he was going to lose the ride. He has since denied that he was in jeopardy of losing the ride, but everybody sure thought he was.
I talked to his crew chief at that time, and he told me, he says, he better get going this race. I tell you, he's in trouble. So he did what he had to do. He went out and proved that he's the type of driver that not only went out and won this race, but went on to, now he has 20 wins on the Winston Cup Tour.
That's the battle for second place we're watching right now. Riding with Bobby Labonte, chasing down Rick Mast. They are, as you see, about a half second, 6/10 behind the leader.
He's set up now. Bobby Labonte makes a move down the short chute there.
If you get off that tunnel turn correctly, you've got the other guy beat.
Well, what I'm sure Bobby Labonte looked up there and watched Dale Jarrett checking out. He's got about a 15-car length lead already. He said, I better get after him.
Yeah, you see the hand out the window as well. He's doing some signaling.
And Rick Mast maybe just a touch tight at this point, the race car. Maybe the setup not exactly as he would like it. Ken Schrader's back on the racetrack, a lap down. There he is, running in 39th position. It took him a long time, obviously, to get back on around. And, Steve, it's a tough way to have to lose a lap here early.
And Eli, this tire, you can see there in the box, is absolutely shredded. Also, more bad news for Ken Schrader. The sway bar is dragging the ground. We're going to try and grab crew chief Sammy Johns here. Sammy, what happened to cause this problem with the tire?
I'm not real sure right now. It just went down on him all of a sudden. We got the sway bar arm in the process. It drug it off, so it's pretty ill for him right now, too. We're going to have to come in and try to get that fixed. We're trying to see if he can hang on, wait for a caution.
Are we seeing any problems with the tires, or is this an isolated incident?
I'm not sure yet. I don't know why the 24 car pitted early, but he may have run over a piece of debris in one of the accidents or something. We're not real sure right now.
Sammy.
Rusty Wallace out of the event. Wally Dallenbach done. Jeff Burton, Joe Nemechek just went to the garage area with either a crank or rod problem, an engine failure, the bottom line there. Good scramble there. Joe. Oh, I just heard a big old boom, and I looked up for a second to see if somebody had a problem, but apparently not. There you see Kenny Irwin being bypassed by Jeff Gordon. Did you hear that going in the turn?
Not only did I hear it, I jumped backwards in my seat because
Fans did.
Yeah.
Fans did, too. They all stood up in the grandstand.
Something backfired going off into the corner, but everybody continues on away. That is Gordon along with Kenny Irwin, with whom we're running right now. That is 14th position. Ernie Irvin right behind in 15th in the M&M's car.
Ernie Irvin there in the yellow car, as you see, coming through the flat corner towards the front straightaway. Cars handle very well through that corner. A long time ago, you had to slide them through there. These cars really track well with the radial tire.
Watch Kenny Irwin. You saw him shifting right there. The shifting spot, the shifting point, kind of unscientific. It's where different teams feel it would work best for them.
A lot of drivers like to turn into the corner, then shift. Some shift before they ever get to the corner where they're under braking, so they don't have to have one hand off the wheel as they start in the corner.
Glenn, how about Jeff Gordon after that pit stop earlier? He's in 14th. The car any better?
Yeah, Eli, they're kind of scratching their heads down here. The Jeff radioed in just a couple laps ago, said the car felt right. So, you know, they didn't even come back in. Ray said they were going to come in and change tires. They didn't even do that. They just decided to stay out. So whatever the problem was, it seems to have mysteriously disappeared right now. He's running fine.
And remember, in their last 10 Pocono visits, Jeff Gordon has 3 wins, 6 top 5s, and 9 top 10s. He's led 9 of those 10 races, so they know their way around here.
I'm going to speculate that he started with the air pressure down in the left front tire, and it built up and made the tire a little stiffer, and it's not bottoming out anymore. That's probably what happened.
Curious about Dale Earnhardt. Started back in the 25th spot. He's now 10th. Kenny Irwin up to 13th from starting in 29th. Ernie Irvin's now 15th. Jimmy Spencer up to 20th. Bill Elliott has won here 4 times, including both races in 1985. He won here in June of '85, outdistancing Harry Gant, and did the same in July of 1985. Pocono's Victory Lane and Bill Elliott, longtime friends. And there is Bill Elliott right now, running in 9th spot, 6.5 seconds behind race leader Dale Jarrett.
And just in front of him up there, Tony Stewart is just cutting through this crowd. I tell you what, for a guy that's never really raced here in this type of car, he's doing a great job. That's him in the orange car following Mark Martin.
There's some pretty good drivers who have come here a half dozen times before they figured the line out. This guy's got it in his first try. Amazing.
There goes Mark Martin challenging inside of Sterling Marlin, our pole sitter, running back in 6th.
Stewart said he found the line by just going out and following people. He tried to find somebody fast and do the best he could to stick with them. This is actually his 2nd appearance at Pocono. First in a Winston Cup car. His first appearance was in a go-kart. Ran backwards down the front straightaway and then all through the infield.
You know who else ran here in the old go-kart days was John Andretti and Michael Andretti. They ran together. There you see the rundown in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. The folks at Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring. Napa, we keep America running.
Mark Martin in the 6th there. He's looking to go on the inside of Sterling Marlin as they head down towards turn 1. There shouldn't be a contest here. Sterling's smart. He'll let them both by.
Yeah, Sterling's not got the preferred groove by any stretch, so he'll lose the spots right there, and he'll get in line right behind Tony Stewart. We mentioned before that preliminary word was that Joe Nemechek was going to be done with engine failure. Have they pinpointed it any closer there, Steve?
Let's find out, Eli. The Bell South Chevrolet has been loaded into the truck. Joe, a year ago, unfortunately, I talked to you about transmission trouble. What put you out today?
Something broke in the motor. I'm not real sure. Just started vibrating really bad, and you could feel it let go. So it's just a tough break for our whole Bell South team. We've been struggling here lately. We had an awesome car for today. We've been awesome in practice. Just messed up a little bit qualifying. My teammates on the pole, and we should have been up there with them, but it just, I don't know, everybody was kind of crazy there at the start, going 9-10 wide, and had an accident, knocked the front bumper in, and we had to fix that, and we were starting to come back, and it just broke. We got to change our luck somehow.
All right, Joe, let's go to Ralph Shaheen.
Steve, Jeff Burton is back out on the racetrack, and they have done a lot of work to improve the structural integrity of the nose piece of the car as he is going down around the racetrack now. As you heard earlier, I told you that they wanted to make sure they could keep as much of the body on the car. See how they put the whole nose on the car? The interesting thing here, Eli, is going to be that they have actually pop riveted the nose on top of the hood. So if they have any problem inside the engine, they're not going to be able to get to it without taking that nose all the way back off again.
We're 29 laps down in the case of Burton. What was that we saw venting there, buddy?
Oh, boy, right there. That's the overflow. That means it's running hot. That's how they let the driver know that there's the water temperature is past boiling right there. You can see it scooting the water out of the overflow.
So their problems seemingly are ongoing as this day is still in the early stages. Just 32 laps are complete. You saw the leaders go by moments ago, so that would be 30 laps down now for Jeff Burton. But they're out there to try and pick up whatever points they can because clearly he was right there in the battle for the points. came in right behind Dale Jarrett, 66 points down.
Eli, the way that's throwing the steam out of that overflow right there, you can see it steaming as he goes into the flat corner here.
And
coming
he knows
off.
it too.
He's coming in right now.
You can't keep running like that. That won't throw enough water on the racetrack to be a danger to the other race cars, but it certainly is a danger to the engine, so he's going to have to bring her on in.
So pit stop here at lap 32. Ralph, it's going to be one of those days, I believe.
It sure is, Eli. What they're going to do is try to take some of the tape off of the nose of the car. Frankie Stoddard is going to jump over the wall and go to work on the car. They're going to pump some water in here if they can. Now remember, they have absolutely pop-riveted the whole nose tight and shut. So Frankie's going to work on the nose of the car, trying to pull some of the tape off to cool it back out. He's going to send it back out. He's hoping that this will work. If it doesn't, he'll bring it back in and try some more water after that.
You see on the left of your screen, that's Jeremy Mayfield in for a pit stop here. Jeremy in at lap number 33. It's a little early, Glenn.
Yes, it is, but you know, I talked to their guys in the crew this morning, Eli, before the race, and they were getting terrible fuel mileage. I'm looking at the car now. It's 4 tires and fuel. I don't see any chassis adjustments. He's got some nose damage right on the very front center of the car. He's down and away. This is a regularly scheduled pit stop, but Robin Pemberton told me this morning that they were concerned about fuel mileage, and the 12 car of Mayfield was as well, that they can only go about 34, 35 laps, so he's right on schedule.
The winner a year ago, Jeremy Mayfield. If you are a Rusty Wallace fan, they have given up the efforts in the garage area. They have just called it a day. So Rusty Wallace, along with Wally Dallenbach and Joe Nemechek, those officially out of the event at the moment. That is your race leader by 7/10 of a second. Dale Jarrett. Some folks watch the races. Others want to grab some fries. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. And by Gillette, makers of Mach 3. Hey folks, you have a chance to enter the TNN Pedal to the Metal sweepstakes, and you could be a big winner. If you can answer the question who the leader is at halfway of today's race, you could win the grand prize Ford F-150 4x4 pickup truck, or a first prize trip to one of 4 NASCAR Winston Cup races aired right here on TNN. It's easy. Just send your name, your age, address, phone number, and the answer on a postcard. Again, we're only at lap 37. Halfway is at lap 100. But just send it into the address you see on the screen or enter online at country.com. And we certainly wish you the very best of luck. The entry deadline, by the way, to win a trip to the Jiffy Lube 300, that deadline is June the 28th. Pit stops. Ricky Rudd's in, Glenn.
Yeah, Eli, again, this is a scheduled pit stop. They've run 37 laps, which most of the teams were figuring between 37 laps and 40 laps. 4 tires, fuel, and Ricky's down and away. He was in 21st position before he came in. Obviously, he'll drop back now.
Others making pit stops. That is Bobby Hamilton making a stop. Rick Mast was in also at lap number 37. We're now at lap number 38.
Eli, as they stretch this fuel mileage out, one thing you don't want to do at Pocono Speedway is run out of fuel. Because of the flat corners, if you run out on the back straightaway, it's questionable whether you can even get back to the pit road or not.
Yeah, it's not likely. We've seen more often than not fuel be a factor with guys running out and not being able to coast on around. Here comes Wally Dallenbach out of the garage. He'll be 36 laps down, but Wally is back on the racetrack, and here comes Dale Jarrett, the race leader. He will make a stop at lap number 39. So Dale Jarrett is in, Ralph.
Well, Eli, he's been a little bit tight coming off the corner, so they're going to make very, very minor adjustments is all they were talking about doing to the car. In fact, at this point, it doesn't look like they're going to do any adjustments to the car. If anything, it would be with air pressure, 4 tires and fuel. Right down there, very pleased with this car, the same one that they ran in Michigan. 16.9 is the stop for Dale Jarrett as they go to work on the 22. Now, the 22 has been suffering from a push for Ward Burton. They're going to make a wedge adjustment and air pressure adjustment for him. 16.6 for him.
So the lead changes hands to Bobby Labonte, who led the first 11 laps today. He takes the lead once more at lap 39, but he is coming in. So it's going to cycle things on around as Bobby Labonte comes in here at lap number 40. Steve?
And Eli, I talked to Jimmy Makar, the crew chief. He said they're going to free the car up, loosen it up. There they make a chassis adjustment to the right rear of the number 18 Interstate Batteries Pontiac of Bobby Labonte. Jeff Chandler changing the front tires. Now they go to the left side. Again, they make a chassis adjustment to the right rear of Bobby Labonte's Pontiac. 17.3 seconds for Bobby Labonte.
There you see Jeff Gordon coming in. You saw Dale Earnhardt, Michael Waltrip on pit road. Johnny Benson is in. Terry Labonte and Rich Bickle making stops. So too again the Jeff Burton car. Tony Stewart is the race leader right now.
And that's going to prove to be very interesting. As fast as he is, Stewart is obviously also getting great fuel economy.
Glenn, how about Jeff Gordon's team? What they do?
Well, Eli, they came in and put fuel in it, put 4 tires. And Jeff was complaining the car was a little bit pushy getting in and loose off. Now, the reason they got great fuel mileage, they topped off when they came in and to check the tires or to check that shock problem a while ago. But they did make a chassis adjustment. We're in Mark Martin's pit right now, so I'll just keep it. He's coming in. Mark's running 3rd currently. Mark's car is also a little tight. And they're going to change 4 tires and make an air pressure adjustment on the car and also a chassis adjustment. Here's Steve Burns.
Hey, Glenn, Tony Stewart is in. Bobby Labonte's teammate did not see a chassis adjustment to the number 20 of Tony Stewart. 4 tires, and he's down.
So the lead now being handed to Sterling Marlin. As you see, Mark Martin now leaving the pit lane. So Sterling Marlin is in as the race leader. This will be the 4th different race this year that he has led. He's been desperately trying to get to victory lane. It's still early, but could today be the day? We'll find out when we come back in a moment. The race leader here at Pocono is Mike Skinner. Now remember, he pitted on lap number 9 during that Rusty Wallace caution. So he is on a different pit sequence than everybody else right now. Most of the lead machines have been on the pit lane. Darrell Waltrip is in right now. Jerry Nadeau is in. Those stops coming at lap number 44. Over the last few moments, we've seen Bobby Labonte, Tony Stewart, Sterling Marlin, and now Mike Skinner as the race leaders here in the Pocono 500. Let's check in on pit stop doings, Ralph.
Well, for the race leader at the time was Dale Jarrett. When he came in, they made no adjustments to the car, Eli, just 4 tires and fuel. Ward Burton, who also was running very well in that first round, he came in, he had a push in the car. They made an adjustment with him. They made an adjustment with wedge and with air pressure. Steve Burns?
Well, Ralph, Bobby Labonte came in, and Jimmy Maycar said they needed to free the car up a little bit. He was tight, so they made an adjustment to the right rear. His teammate, Tony Stewart, in the number 20 came in. They didn't make a chassis adjustment, but what they did, he was also a little bit tight. They made an air pressure adjustment. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Well, Steve, up at this end, Jeff Gordon came in, and as I said, he was reporting that his car was pushy, getting in and loose getting off, so they raised the track bar about a half a round. Now, down in Mark Martin's pits, his car was also pushing, and so they raised the track bar 2 rounds and also made an air pressure adjustment. Both cars took on tires and fuel, obviously.
There's your new race leader, Chad Little, showing the way here at the Poconos. He has led 2 races this year. He led in Atlanta and led in California. He too pitted at lap number 9. So he, like some of the others, are on a different pit stop sequence. Pretty good pit stops for a lot of these teams. And there's Jimmy Fennick and Jack Roush reacting and checking those stopwatches. All right.
It's nice to have a good pit stop. You can see they were very pleased.
And that is Mark Martin, with whom we're running now. He's in 9th place here at lap number 46 of 200. Just joining us, 2 very early cautions. One at lap 2 when Wally Dallenbach and Jeff Burton got together. Then at lap 7 when Rusty Wallace cut a tire, went into the wall in turn 1. Otherwise, we have been green since then. Dale Jarrett is running 2nd, down by 2 2/10 to Chad Little. But again, remember that Chad's on a different pit stop sequence. He's coming in now, and as Jarrett comes to the stripe, he'll take the lead.
And the other,
look out, Chad Little.
Whoa, into the inside wall there. That was air guns and things you see that was flying in the air there. He was lucky that he didn't strike anyone that had their foot up on the wall there.
Boy, it's a good thing that was not during a yellow flag pit stop where that pit was full of people.
Now, that is grounds for a one-lap penalty in NASCAR, which will be assessed when Chad finally comes to a stop. He will be held for at least one lap. There is also a provision where he could be held for as many as 4 laps, and that is what we are understanding now.
Eli, he's got a lot more trouble than that. The left rear corner of that race car is absolutely chewed off. He's got a lot of problems with the back of that car.
You see the official holding up 4 fingers. It is going to be 4 laps of a penalty for Chad Little there for the extensive or excessive speed coming down the pit road.
Boy, he's had a tough time here at Pocono. A DNF last year in this race, a D&Q this race in '97, a DNF in this race in 1992, and here he sits on pit road being penalized.
Scary time down there. Watch it again in case you happen to be turning away from the screen. Watch this. He came in giving up the lead to Jarrett.
Very hot. He tries to slow it down. He starts losing it there. It spins around right rear corner into the inside pit wall there.
Watch it again from the overhead grandstand view. Thank God nobody was out there.
Boy, you see the jack go flying in that pit area.
Yeah, and tires flying around. But you know what? He just tried to wore her down. They have a speed limit for pit road, and he jumped on the brakes, and the car got out from under him.
Well, Dale Jarrett is the race leader now, with Bobby Labonte right behind him. He is just a couple 3-car lengths back for the lead.
Yeah, and that's from about a 30-car deficit. Bobby Labonte much quicker right now than Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett reported that he had a little bit of push just a little while ago. They made adjustments, but I think Bobby Labonte right now has the faster of the 2 cars.
We've already heard that this is the same car Jarrett won with at Michigan last week. He said the reason the car won was handling. He said this is a handling track, this speedway at Pocono, and that was the singular reason that he brought the race car.
Jimmy Spencer just being black flagged on the speedway. He'll be coming in to be checked over. The car will be checked over by the NASCAR officials on the pit lane.
Eli, this is down that long straightaway we talked about. They're drafting down through there. Speed's close to 200 miles an hour. Bobby Labonte looking him over right now. Cannot make the move yet.
Jeffrey Bodine will pit. Chad Little is now eligible to return to the race, but they have taken the car behind the wall to work on it some. So their problems are a little more severe after tagging the pit lane wall.
Fine run today for Bobby Labonte at Pocono. He said this place has been a thorn in my side, and indeed until last July, Bobby Labonte had not had a strong finish here at Pocono. He worked on this racetrack. This was one of the goals that they went into 1998 with, try to do better at Pocono. They adjusted the car, came up with a different setup last July. It's pretty much the same setup they've got into the car today. He's got a strong second place race car there right now.
Boy, look at how the accident with Jeff Burton impacted the points, huh?
Yeah.
And a big change. They've just given Jimmy Spencer the black flag for the second time. He has yet to make his way down the pit road. Next time, if he doesn't come in, NASCAR will put out the black flag with the white cross on it, which will mean that you can stay out there all day if you want.
Yeah.
We've stopped scoring your car.
Yeah, and you don't get paid for it anymore.
Right. So one would assume that Jimmy will be coming in. There was a question about something that took place during the pit stop moments ago. And here he comes now into the attention of the crew and the NASCAR inspectors. At the rear of the car, 2 inspectors are going around, and they were checking something, clearly making the right side tire changes. So Jimmy, unscheduled stop for the man from Berwick at lap number 51. He had a huge, successful golf tournament the other day, raising thousands and thousands of dollars here in Pennsylvania for charities in his home area. Hey, Steve, nobody was hurt, I assume, where Chad Little hit the wall there before?
No, we
just went down to Brett Bodine Fitz, Eli. Everybody's okay. Their video camera was knocked out of commission, though. And also just checked in Jimmy Spencer's pits. They have lug nuts that were loose. That's why they had to come back in. But once again, went to the pits where Brett Bodine's team is. Chad Little hits the wall, but everybody is fine down here. Again, it knocked their video pit camera out of service, but everyone's okay.
Those pit cameras could be replaced. And that's good news that nobody was injured. Right there, you see 5th place and 4th spot. Ward Burton in the 22. He has 4th. Rick Mast behind him in 5th. The leader is Dale Jarrett. Took over the top spot again at lap number 47 after leading laps 19 through 38. Middle stages here at Pocono. We're back in a moment. Hope you can do what a lot of folks are doing right now, logging on to NASCAR Online. Before the races, during the races, after the race. Matter of fact, after the race, we'll be doing another chat session today. Taking your questions online and discussing today's race. NASCAR.com is the address for your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. And also, folks, if you're looking for a great gift idea, maybe retroactively to today's Father's Day gift, if Dad didn't get the tie or whatever it might be, don't forget NASCAR Thunder, the official store of NASCAR, now open all across the country. And you can call the number you see on the screen, and they'll give you the location of the NASCAR Thunder store nearest to you. Interesting here, the leader, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Labonte behind him. They've closed in on Rich Bickle and in and around Kenny Schrader.
See how Schrader just backed out, let him go. He's not going to mess with the leaders.
And Rich Bickle, he just watch him roll out with the throttle here and let Bobby Labonte go by on the inside.
Speaking of rolling out, let's roll all the way back out about 6 7/10 seconds back to Mark Martin. He's in 3rd. So right now, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte have checked out. Mark can't even see the guys he's chasing. Through turn 3 on the right of the screen, 17,000 new seats that were finished literally 2 weeks ago here at Pocono International Raceway, bringing the capacity up to in excess of 120,000.
And brand new garages in the infield as well, and a big purse for today's race, over $2.3 million. The Battioli family pumping some money into their speedway and sending a bunch of it to the drivers.
Just talking to some of the guys when we were away at break that are working the pits, they said that Tony Stewart's car took both cans on the last stop, so he's very close to running out of fuel. That's as far as he could have gone.
We're here at Pocono International Raceway. 57 of 200 laps complete. The bratwursts are on the grill. They're coming right back. The Pocono 500 began with a bang. Lap number 2, Jeff Burton hit Wally Dallenbach, both back on the racetrack after extensive repairs. Lap number 7, Rusty Wallace. Right front tire gone, in the wall, 200 miles an hour. He's okay. The car is done. Kenny Schrader lost the left front tire, cost him a lap. He's now in 38th. And Chad Little had that spin trying to pit at lap number 46. Everyone's okay, though Chad was penalized 4 laps by NASCAR. The leader is the 88 of Jarrett. That is the 7th place battle now. Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, they are right now some 14 seconds behind the race leader, but nevertheless out there. Look at this scramble for the lead with Jeffrey Bodine sandwiched against the wall. Bobby Labonte saw the opening, makes it stick. He'll take the lead.
Early in the race, you could see Dale Jarrett just check up and let him have that inside groove, but he has a great car as he fights back on the inside.
Well, it's going to go right back. Now, though Labonte leads on the racetrack there for a while, he does not get 5 bonus points. Well, of course, he'd already gotten them earlier in the day for leading the first 11 laps, but had that been the first time, you don't get the bonus points for leading a lap unless the change is recorded at the start-finish line or the scoring line.
2 guys driving at the race as if they're champions, future champions for sure. Neither one of them has ever won the championship. Jarrett says he wants to win it more for his car owner, Robert Yates, than for himself, but he also looks forward to the opportunity to represent NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and what a fine champion that guy would make. Both of them would.
You see MCI WorldCom bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring. Your one connection to the world is on net from MCI WorldCom.
Mark Martin in the 6 there, and the 22 of Ward Burton as they head down into turn 3 there. Ward Burton's doing a great job most of the year this year. One of the cars that does not have another race car out there is a teammate, but he's still right up front every week.
And remember that Ward here had the pole last July. He qualified 5th here last June. Even finished 2nd here in July of '94. So Ward Burton is one of those who gets around this track well. I really believe that this track, as much as any, if not more so, buddy, and again, you've driven, I have not, but I think here, if you like the place, you're going to do a whole lot better because this place can psych you out.
Eli, any racetrack. You hear a guy say, I don't like Daytona. Well, he ought to be home because you can't win at Daytona unless you love it. And Pocono is so difficult. If you don't like this racetrack, it's like going to a horror house for you because you just spend the whole day going, am I going to mess up? Is this the corner that's going to get me?
There you see the lead tightening up again. Those guys, Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte, are now 7 seconds ahead of Mark Martin in 3rd. They're about to put Johnny Benson a lap down in the Cheerios car. Johnny is 26th in car 26.
Car showed a lot of motor, that number 88. I asked Robert Gates this morning how much does it have, and he just sort of looked at me with a big smile and he said, let's say it's over 750 horsepower. There's been a lot of conversation in the garage about some of these guys getting close to 800 horsepower, and I asked Robert about that, and he said he could certainly imagine. He said, I can see 800 horsepower in the not distant future. He also remembered the first time he saw 700 horsepower and couldn't quite believe it.
You know, one of the big father-son stories of this weekend on Father's Day, as Jeffrey Bodine slows on the racetrack, is the fact that Buddy Parrott, the father, team manager for Jeff Burton, well, his car is now way behind after the early problems, and his son, Todd Parrott, crew chiefing for Dale Jarrett. And that's one of those father-son deals on Father's Day that right now is in favor of the son.
Yeah, I love the conversations between the two of them. It's, thank you, Dad.
Ralph, it's the young guns showing the way right now in the Parrott family.
Well, Todd Parrott is doing a great job of crew chiefing for Dale Jarrett, getting a big win last week in Michigan. He climbs down to talk to us. Your car was so dominant in Michigan last week. You've got the same machine here today. How good is it today? Is it doing fine over that tunnel turn?
Yeah, he said just now the car's just a little bit tight over the tunnel. You know, the sun's gone behind the clouds. Track's cooled off a little bit. We put the tires on a while ago. And the car seemed to be just a little bit free, but all in all, he hadn't said a whole lot.
Well, Bobby Labonte is running right behind you, and he's already won races this year on fuel mileage. Are you getting concerned he might be trying to do that here today?
Without a doubt. You know, I'm sure that he's just back there taking it easy, taking care of the fuel, and you know, I guess he came on the radio a while ago and he told Jimmy Maycar that he was just going to school right now.
School's in session. We'll see who ends up being the teacher and who ends up being the pupil here today, I guess.
Long way to go, though, as we still have 134 laps to go. Hey, speaking of Father's Day, how is Buck Baker doing?
I just want to say hello to my dad. By the way, he's had a bout with pneumonia, and I just want to say happy Father's Day to my father. Buck, I love you. You know I do, and I want you to get well, man.
Great racing champion, Buck Baker, and, of course, Buddy Baker, Hall of Famer himself, riding with Bobby Labonte right behind Dale Jarrett. Leaders begin to put others' laps down. They're closing in on Jeff Green and others, trying to put them a lap away, while Jeffrey Bodine takes the power team car to the garage. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. And by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. We are under caution here at Pocono International Raceway. Some rubber was being shredded off one of the cars. One of the tires was apparently having a problem. indication from NASCAR is that it might have been coming from the number 33 Ken Schrader car, though it was tough to tell in a clump of traffic. But suffice to say, there was a severe enough problem off the tunnel turn onto the north straightaway that NASCAR has thrown the, you see the tire tracks there that went up right towards the wall, and that and much other debris, a little more significant, combining to bring out the caution here at Pocono. Lap number 69, Dale Jarrett is the leader, Bobby Labonte second, then you've got Rick Mast, who is just in for pit stops, along with cars who've gone laps down, and there's the third place runner, Mark Martin, Ward Burton running in fourth, and Tony Stewart running in fifth. This is the third caution of the day. They are picking up debris, and then they're going to bring out the jet blower as well, we are told. So whatever was shredding there on the turn 2 and north straightaway area, sufficient enough to bring out the jet blower here at Pocono. By the way, just got a quick note from all the scorers up on the roofs here. They said, please say Happy Father's Day from all the scorers to their dads. So consider that job done on this Father's Day, 1999. Lap number 70 is when these pit stops are taking place. Jarrett, Bobby Labonte, Mark Martin. All the leaders coming in under the comfortable conditions of a caution.
Yeah, Tony Stewart, he was in 5th place there. You can see him go by. He's in the pits right now. All these guys are nose to tail. This is a brand new race for everybody.
Now, some of the teams have pitted too soon. Again, only those on the lead lap could come in this first time by. Some of those who have come in early will have to go to the end of the longest line of traffic, but they were already a lap or two down, so they felt it was worth making their stops right now. Let's get the updates of any changes on any of these race cars. Steve, how'd the stops go?
Well, lately on the number 18 of Bobby Labonte, remember the last stop they made a chassis adjustment to the right rear. Jimmy Maycar said they wanted to free the car up. Well, on this stop, they didn't make any adjustments to the car, so obviously they feel the car is handling well. Ralph Shaheen.
Well, Steve, for Dale Jarrett, it was a unique situation. He was a little tight going over the tunnel turn, but he didn't want to loosen the car up anymore going into turn number 1. So what they did was they changed all 4 tires, filled it up with fuel, and took 1 round of bite out of the car. They feel that that should balance it out since they were running under the clouds. Well, Jarrett?
Well, Ralph, I'm down in Mark Martin's pits, and you remember last time I told you his car was pushy, and so they made an adjustment last time. They went a little too far, so they tightened it back up just a little bit, 4 tires of fuel. Meanwhile, on down to Jeff Gordon, they took a round of bite out of the right rear, and also they put fuel and 4 tires on it. Also, Jeff was reporting that the windshield was bad. He was asking for the 8th man over the wall, but they did not do that, so we'll keep an eye on that, see just how bad that windshield is.
So pit stops at lap 70 and lap 71 here at Pocono International Raceway. The left rear, we are told, is what the tire was for Schrader. Let's watch the left rear and see if we can eyeball what it was. There, you see him start chunking it right there.
Second tire Schrader's lost today.
And then it continued to get even worse than that as he worked the straightaway.
But you have to remember, he broke the sway bar off this car, and that changed the handling all the way around on this car. That's probably why he had the tire problem.
And there they're trying to figure out exactly what's amiss. Under caution here. That was supposed to be a beauty shot, but instead it's Wayne. Dale Jarrett under caution continues to pace the field here at Pocono International Raceway. We're about 45 minutes from the Wilkes-Barre Scranton area of Pennsylvania, about a 2.25-hour drive from Philadelphia, up in the beautiful Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania. You know, there are a lot of family trees in the world of NASCAR racing, a lot of brothers, sons, so on. Take a look at this. Jeff Burton's team manager, Buddy Parrott, father of whom? Brad and Todd. Todd Parrott, crew chief for Dale Jarrett, and Brad works there as well. Dale Jarrett is the brother-in-law to Bobby Labonte's crew chief, Jimmy Maycar. He married Patty Jarrett. A lot of that goes on in NASCAR. A lot of families. At one point, we had 7 different brother pairs running on the racetrack. We've followed up a little bit more on this Father's Day to learn how close fathers and sons can be when they're competitors.
Well, we did get together on Memorial Day, and
my mom cooked dinner for us, and after we had dinner, me and him went upstairs into his office and sat down and exchanged all the notes from what we did at Charlotte, you know. So when we go back there in October, I feel like we're going to be a lot better since, you know, he told me about all the things that they did on the 99 car. And I told him some of the things that we were doing here, coming here. So we got to keep his family deal, you know, 1 and 2 in the points. So whatever we have to do to share information, we're going to do it.
Todd,
and you believe that, right?
Yeah, I believe everything you said.
Well, we did up until Todd took the lead in the points from us on that deal at Richmond. Now I don't speak to him anymore. No.
Not nearly as much as we used to. It's, you know, it's gotten where we're competing every week, week in and week out for these wins and for a championship. So I've noticed that we say a lot less technical things to each other and let each other be less privy to the information of what we're doing.
We're not sharing anything, believe me. It's war over there in that garage area.
It really is a friendly war, but a war nevertheless, as the field is going to get the 1-to-go signal. Let's follow up on this pit stop here, or the sequencing of stops when Schrader had the tire shredding. Remember the 98 car of Rick Mast, he had pitted at lap number 67. You had Jeremy Mayfield pitting at 68, Glenn. So what does that mean for those two teams?
Well, the 98 car, this goes back to the very first green flag pit stop, Eli. What happened was they didn't get the car full of fuel then. He actually pitted on lap 67 about 10 laps earlier than he should have. The jack went down and they just didn't get it full of fuel. So right now he's at the tail end of the lead lap. Dale Jarrett right behind him. So this really cost Rick Mast. Jeremy Mayfield pitted on lap 68, which he pitted on lap 34 the first time. So he was on sequence. Jeremy got out just ahead of the leader. So he is okay. He just, in fact, just came back down pit road and topped his fuel tank off. So he took advantage of it. Jeremy is the last car on the lead lap. Mast, the first car that's going to be a lap down.
So that's how the running order will stack up right now with 23 teams on the lead lap. Let's take a look at the running order so you'll know exactly who's where here, getting set for the restart. Well, Earnhardt and Park having a nice little tussle.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart still in 5th, where he is in points also.
Ward Burton, a single car operation right there with multi-car teams running very, very well.
There's Jeremy Mayfield taking his spot on the racetrack. Boy, look at that difference, huh? 18.2 the average finish since Pocono here of a year ago when he won. Tough business, unforgiving business.
It is that. Just because you have one great year, the next year can be just that bad. So Jeff Gordon has 4 DNFs already this year. Last year, only 2. So,
of course, with all of that, Jeremy's only 2 points behind Terry Labonte for 10th in points. So it's not like you know, his season is a discardo. I mean, there are 90% of the guys out there want to be where Jeremy Mayfield is in points right now.
Yeah, when we talk about Jeff Gordon being in a slump, he's already won 3 times this year, so he's not really in a slump. He's just a little back in the points right now, but that team can always come to the front.
There's your pit stop, right? Dale Jarrett came out first. Look at Bill Elliott, though. Came in 10th, out 15th. He was the big loser in that round. Long pit stop.
Riding with Elliott Sadler and the Wood Brothers team. Woods themselves 2-time winners here at Pocono with the legendary David Pearson behind the wheel.
Let's just watch and listen as they go down towards turn 1. You'll hear him shift right there. 8100 he shifted.
Shifting there, of course, under high speed.
There he goes. He put it in 3rd right there. Jeff Gordon on the right-hand side as they go through the corner.
Under high speed, they'd be anywhere between 190 and 201 going into that corner.
Mark Martin on the move there under Jeff Green. Bobby Labonte just behind him as they head into the tunnel turn.
Riding with Bobby Labonte in 3rd. Just sliding it through that flat turn 3 area. And there the dance begins.
How However do they know that there's no one beside them when they start sliding in and out like that?
Oh, Kenny Irvin there on the far side of he had contact there down the front straightaway with Kyle Petty. Just a little knock around there.
So sometimes they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes they don't. Is right. You know, if you're driving on an interstate highway and you're trying to figure out whether you can pull out to pass somebody, the whole business of the mirrors, you got the little mirror on the driver's side, you got another mirror over on the passenger side, and you can pretty much see there's still a blind spot on both sides. These guys don't have side mirrors at all.
Watch this again.
Watch right here. Little snug.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
That's just, okay, I'm down here. We don't have a horn, so I'm going to let you know with a little sheet metal.
Yeah, a little braille activity there.
Jarrett dealing with Rich Bickle. Mark Martin right behind him. For the moment, they have left Bobby Labonte a few car lanes back.
Mark Martin must have his handling problems all fixed right now because that car is really on the move. As he moved on Jarrett there down the straightaway, if anything, he had a little more straightaway speed, but he does have the draft as a benefit.
They came into this race very optimistic this morning. Usually they do a lot of changes on the race cars on race morning, but this car got virtually no changes this morning. They were so pleased with it in happy hour last night, they decided to pretty much go with that same setup.
You know, it's remarkable, Glenn, that Mark Martin has won at 16 different tracks that the series now runs on, but he's never won here at Pocono.
Well, that could change today, Eli. When I polled the guys in the garage area, most of them thought Mark Martin was the car to beat. In that last run, before we were getting ready to have green flag stops anyway, before that caution, Mark Martin was consistently turning laps just a little quicker than both Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte. So they kept tinkering on Mark's car. Looks like they've got it about where he wants it right now. He is quick.
Watching Rick Bass lead him around here right now. His car's, oh, here we go for the lead.
Mark Martin trying to pull his way through off turn number 1. The car ahead of them, Rick Mast on the tail end of the lead lap. This is for the lead.
Bobby Labonte goes with Martin on the low side.
Martin's not led today, but he has now. Over the tunnel turn onto the north straightaway.
DJ's giving Labonte room, and he's going to take it.
Here comes Ward Burton in the 22, making him too wide down in the flat part of that corner as they head for the front straightaway.
So Jarrett goes from first to fourth. Boom, just like that.
Off turn number 3, Mark Martin, the new leader of the Pocono 500, with Bobby Labonte, Ward Burton, Dale Jarrett, and Tony Stewart. Jack says, all right.
I think he don't.
Well, we told you before the break that Ward Burton might be the fastest guy on the racetrack. He just told that to Mark Martin as Ward becomes the 9th different leader today, taking over here at lap number 79. Ward, having already led 5 other races this year, now takes the lead here for the 6th race that he has been in the top spot. Did you see what he was doing this morning as you see Tabitha and the family looking on? Ward's a great-looking family. Did you see what he was doing when we were in the garage this morning?
Yeah, walking around with his cell phone in his hand just about dawn, and he was on the phone with Terry Ellich, his engine man, wondering how many RPM they dared run in the race today. The answer, 9,000. And Ellich says if it sticks together, they're going to try 9,200 here in July.
Rick Mast trying to stay right there within shouting distance of the race leaders. You see him just ahead of Ward Burton. Ralph, is a great story, though, for Ward, isn't it?
It sure is, Eli. There's a lot of things going on with this team down. I spoke with Tommy Baldwin just a few minutes ago. I said, what adjustments did you make during the last round of pit stop? And they went up a little bit on the left rear of the car. He was loose in the first part of the run, and the car tends to tighten up a little bit as they get into the back half of the run. So they wanted to adjust for that. Tommy told me everybody tends to even out in the second half of the runs in between pit stops, so they're really trying to improve on the first half of the run. It sure seems like they did it here, Glenn Jarrett.
Yeah, Ralph, I'll move it up to Jeff Burton's pits, and his problems continue. They just pushed the car behind the wall. He was here. There was a big puddle of oil in the pit space there. They're sweeping up the mess now. They put some Speedy Dry oil dry down to pick it up. And so they had a broken oil line. Evidently, one was damaged in the crash. It finally gave way. And so right now, as I said, their problems continue. They are behind the wall. They're going to replace the oil line.
You see Napa bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring, and that'll show you that Tony Stewart is now further getting with the program. Only 1 2/10 seconds down to Ward Burton.
It's nice to see Ward Burton in the lead. It's been a long time since he's won a race. 107 events since he has last won. But what a great year Ward Burton is having. 0 DNFs so far this year. 7th in points. Best he's ever finished in the points is 9th. Could be a career year. If he gets 2 wins, it'll be his best ever.
You realize that that 22 car is the only car from a non-multiple car team that's now in the top 10 in points?
I did. And I can tell you something else.
Please do.
Right now, he's the quickest car on the racetrack on the computer that we're looking at. And you can see why. He's using the draft off of the Rick Mast car, who's trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. That's the reason he isn't pulling over, because he's every bit as quick as our race leader.
And of course, you've got Bill Davis, who also on the occasion fields a car for Dave Blaney, but we're talking full-time, multiple car entries. When you talk about Ward Burton, his team doesn't fit into that category. 4th last week, leading here today. Oh, Woody Woodpecker hanging right there. Doesn't want to go another lap down. That's 98 just ahead of the leaders.
Boy, this certainly does not look like last week in Michigan. We have the first 5 cars nose to tail right now. Very good race.
Yeah, you talk about Ward Burton again. Already 8 top 10 finishes this year. What are we, mid-season now? Just working race number 15 of 34. They had only 5 top 10s all of last year. So they're way ahead of schedule versus a season ago.
You're exactly right. Somebody else has run into the mix of that front bunch up there. Jeff Gordon's closed in there now in 6th spot.
They have pulled away the front 6 out by 2.5 seconds from Dale Earnhardt and those behind him. Still early, but the tension's always high at Pocono.
Brought to you by LA West Luxury Vans. Available at select dealerships nationwide. Call for a free video. 800-786-VANS. Radio communications are provided by Racing Radios. For all of your radio communications needs as well as scanners, call on Racing Radios at 1-800-669-1522. And by Featherlight, the official trailer of NASCAR, CART, IRL, NHRA, ASA, and World of Outlaws. Remember to call Featherlight for all your trailer and motor coach needs at 800-800-1230.
Welcome back, everybody, as Ward Burton continues to lead. Has not gone around Rick Mast yet to put him another lap down. Rick's hanging right there with the race leaders. Mark Martin 2nd, then Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Tony Stewart. Jeff Gordon is 6th, Dale Earnhardt now 7th, Ernie Irvan is 8th, Steve Park 9th, and Mike Skinner rounding out the top 10. We mentioned Ernie Irvan again, and think about it. Last weekend, started 2nd at Michigan, finished 7th there for his 3rd top 10 of the year. And there's the M&M's car. Wants to do well every week, but they're so close to the M&M's headquarters up in Hackettstown, New Jersey. Just about an hour and a half from here, and they really wanted to make sure they put on a super show here. He and Steve Park now scrambling for 8th and 9th spot.
Look at this. He's passed 26 cars, Ernie Irvan has. What a great run he's having today from the back of the pack.
So that's an ongoing battle. 8th and 9th. Skinner right behind him in the 31, running in 10th. We've got Bobby Hamilton in 11th and Ted Musgrave, a good job in 12th. Ricky Rudd in 13th. Ricky said to us yesterday that he's getting close to decision time. He said he'll hear from the folks at Tide by the end of this month and see what their status is sponsorship-wise for the future. And he says if they're back, he's got one plan. If they don't return, he has some other options, but he says that it's down to decision time.
He's got one of the best helmets for his sponsor of anybody in the series. The helmet is full of flying laundry. It's just great.
Well, let me tell you about Ricky Rudd. I think whoever gets him gets a prize, because Ricky Rudd's always out there. He gives 100% every week, and I would like to see Tide stay with him. Boy, I'm telling you, they're racing like crazy.
Yeah, and Ricky wins every year,
I'm sorry, guys. I was looking up the racetrack, and I'm never supposed to do that, but there was a big scramble up towards the front.
There's Ricky Rudd, of whom we were speaking seconds ago on the Tide Ford. Riding with him now at a good solid 13th place run. Bill Elliott is 14th, Kevin LePage 15th. You see the rundown in the upper left of the screen.
Interesting story on the car that Ricky Rudd chose for today's event. They went way back to '97. They picked the car he won the Brickyard 400 with, also won at Dover with this same race car.
Oh, Dave Marcus in trouble in turn 2.
Look at the damage to the front of this race car. Back and front.
Dave Marcus hitting a ton. You see him moving there. Took down the window net, which signals he's okay. Doesn't matter, rookie or veteran alike. Turn 2 is going to grab you. It's happened to the very best over the years. And Dave Marcus brings out the 4th caution flag of the day here in the Pocono 500. Rick Mast does stay ahead of the race leaders, so he's going to get that lap back.
Well, the reason they let him go back by, he pulled over and let the lead cars go just about 2 laps before that. They said, okay, you want to play that well, we'll let you make that lap back.
Let's take a look at what we can see here. It's going to be a vicious hit. He and Brett were together.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man.
Holy cow.
Christmas. Wow.
He almost got that thing upside down.
You don't think they carry some speed around this flat racetrack?
Oh.
I tell you what, that screen right there on that window saved his life just then. I saw his head trying to get out of that race car, and it was over against the wall when I was watching his head right against the wall there. That screen really saved him.
It's about as hard as you can hit.
We've seen 2 vicious licks today. Rusty Wallace's deal in turn 1 at 200 miles an hour head on, as he described it. And that job with Dave Marcus. We're back in just a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by the Home Depot, the official home improvement warehouse of NASCAR. And by Eagle One. Are you ready for the attention? There is Mark Martin here at Pocono International Raceway as he finds himself, along with all the other leaders, having made pit stops under caution at lap number 92. The reason we're under caution is for the cleanup from Dave Marcus's savage hit in the wall at turn number 2. We saw Dave moving around, taking down that window net. Watch this lick again. This is where it begins to happen. I don't know if he and Brett Bodine touched or not. Tough to tell.
Eli, I want you to watch something. Watch the safety net there. Watch his head when he hits the wall here. Go right now. Look at it right there. Can you see it? It popped right out against that net. Boy, it saved his life, I can tell you that.
Yeah, look again there. You see the white of the helmet being restrained by that safety net. It was a vicious hit.
Because that second post on the driver's side,
the B pillar
right there, that is a weapon. And his head got in that net and it popped him back into the car. Thank goodness.
And there Dave is being helped from the race car. And that's the best thing to see right there.
Tough cookie, Dave Marcus. 58 years old. He walks away from a crash like that. Attaboy, Dave.
Yeah. A little shaky, and you can understand why. He's going to be sore tomorrow when he gets home to Avies Creek, North Carolina. But he is fine as work on pit road continues under caution. There is John Andretti in to make a pit stop. He had pitted during the caution number 3 when Schrader's tire began chunking out. So he stayed out on the racetrack while everybody else pitted at lap 92, picked up his 5 bonus points for leading a lap, and is now making his pit stop at lap number 94. So Mark Martin, Jeremy Mayfield, Jeff Gordon, who was one of the big gainers during that sequence of pit stops, are among the top 3. There's Bobby Labonte riding around in the top 6.
Eli, while we're showing this, see this net right? Well, my telestrator just quit on me, but
there you
right
go.
there, that net right there keeps them from coming over to the right side of the car. You also have a net right there, plus the safety net there. So you have a lot of things to keep you from coming out of a race car and maybe getting a neck injury.
And that inside net was developed basically by Jeff Burton, who then started working with Bill Simpson. Those little nets started out in sprint cars and midgets to try to keep the drivers' heads inside the car. And Burton said, hey, how about if we can keep the driver's head in a little bit further than the great big net that's out a little bit closer to the edge of the race car, and it's a good invention.
And another thing, you see this on the shoulder area, instead of taking all the lick on your rib cage, they have seats now that wrap around your shoulders to take some of the impact also.
So some teams have pitted in sequence, others have not, but the bottom line, Steve Burns, is we're nearing halfway, and we're pretty well assured now these teams have got them dialed in the way they're going to run.
Boy, particularly Bobby Labonte. He came in, took 4 tires, obviously, filled it full of gasoline. And I talked to Jimmy Makar, Eli. They didn't make any adjustments whatsoever. Not a chassis adjustment, not an air pressure adjustment, just gasoline and tires for the 18 of Bobby Labonte. Ralph?
Well, I was down in Ward Burton's pit and spoke with Tommy Baldwin, crew chief for Ward. Their car is better when they're running behind somebody. The reason being is they have the fenders pushed out so the car will corner well. But of course, when you do that, that expands the frontal area of the car, which makes it like basically pushing a brick through the air down the straightaway. So they made no adjustments. They did have a lug nut hang up on them on that last pit stop. Cost them a little bit of time in the pits, but they made no adjustments outside of 4 tires of fuel, Glenn.
Well, guys, down in Mark Martin's pits, they made one of the best pit stops I have ever seen. Of course, they didn't have to put 2 cans of fuel in simply because they hadn't burned it all off yet. But they changed 4 tires, 1 can of fuel in less than 15 seconds. That's why Mark Martin is leading the race. Jeff Gordon, meanwhile, complained that his car needed to be freed up a little bit. It's a little bit too tight, so they put 1 can of fuel in, made an air pressure adjustment, and tried to, as I said, tried to free the car up for him. If we look at the scoreboard now, the number 12 of Jeremy Mayfield shows up for the first time today up in the top order. The reason Jeremy's up there, he had pitted at the tail end of the last caution and gotten fuel. When he came down pit road this time, they had to merely top off the tank, and they only changed 2 tires. They changed right side, so that's the reason Jeremy got out ahead of so many cars that were in front of him.
He goes from 17th spot, Mayfield does, up to 2nd. Wasn't particularly good stop for Ward Burton, regretfully. But there you see how your favorites have done. Some interesting technical innovations here this weekend, and it's time for our Tech Fact, brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
You know, NASCAR has always been extremely safety conscious. Safety for the drivers and the crews, and now the fans as well. This weekend at Pocono, NASCAR is testing a system to secure the hoods to the cars in case of a violent crash. This base plate out here on the top of the hood, around to the back side of it, there's a cable mounted to it. The cable is secured here and looped around the roll bar. This system is being tested on Rusty Wallace's car, Jeff Gordon's car, and Bobby Labonte's car here this weekend at Pocono. If they like it, if things work out the way they want, NASCAR will make this system mandatory by the Daytona 500 next year in February.
Certainly we saw Rusty Wallace's hood not go anywhere at all when he had his vicious hit. And again, one make of each car, a Ford, a Chevy, and a Pontiac, each having those experimental hood tethers literally bolted in place by up to 15 bolts on that little plate that Glenn showed you on the hood. We continue under caution. Sorry, Pops. Racing is the priority. We appreciate the signage here at Pocono International Raceway. The Pocono 500 under caution for that vicious accident involving Dave Marcus up in turn 2. Field's going to get the 1-to-go signal. By the way, I want to say happy birthday to Mike Andrews, who's going to be 29 tomorrow. Mike's in the hospital, a big Bill Elliott fan, and they asked that we say happy birthday to Mike Andrews, who's watching today. 97 laps on the board. Some of the teams choosing to come in and top off just a little bit here. Ricky Rudd comes in, David Green, Johnny Benson, a host of others, mostly those who are at least a lap down, coming in to top off just a bit.
Yeah, that'll help Rick Mast because he did get back in the lead lap now, and he's going to have a little advantage because he waited so long to take on fuel. He's at the back of the pack anyhow, so he's having a great day.
Glenn, we've not talked much about Dale Earnhardt today at Pocono, but he's up to 4th now.
Yeah, Eli, I came down to check in his pit area to see if maybe like Jeremy Mayfield, they had changed 2 tires as well, and they almost hit me. Said, no, we changed 4. They did a 15.2 second pit stop, got Dale Earnhardt out in 4th position. That was a great stop. To stop by his crew, Earnhardt's crew, and Mark Martin's crew, 2 of the best I've ever seen.
I'll tell you, when you were driving, buddy, what was a good pit stop? What were the time parameters?
Eli, if you had a stop in anywhere in the 22nd, like a 21, 22, 23-second stop, that was exceptional. But what they have now, they have the gas cans, they flow them, they'll dump out like you wouldn't believe. Everything, the tires, the wheels, everything are so much easier to get on now than they were way back.
About a half lap away from going green. TNN Motorsports wants to say thank you to you folks who make all of our jobs possible. Yeah, you guys, the racing fans. It is You to Fan Week at TNN. That includes the 130,000 or so on hand here at Pocono. To the millions more watching at home, we want to thank you, and a big salute from everybody also to those of you who are watching today on Armed Forces Television, listening on Armed Forces Radio. Over 800,000 men and women in uniform in over 165 countries. We welcome you to Pocono and to You to Fan Week on TNN.
No, You to Man.
You to Man. All right, here we go. Green flag about to fly, 2 laps shy of halfway. Only 4 wide. That's not bad.
See both Earnhardt and Gordon looking around for a way to pick up a spot.
Yep.
Right with Bill Elliott down into turn 1. At this point right here, you see him really get right up on Kevin LePage as they start down towards the long punch straightaway.
Elliott's in 15th spot right now. Jeff Gordon in 3rd spot. As well as that car is running, I wonder if Ray Evernham really will cut it up when they get it back to Charlotte.
Brand new car that they built, and it's identical to the car they used to call Butthead. Remember that car? And Ray said, we all tried to build it to the exact specifications of that car. He said, we'd either come up with a great new car or I built myself a new 1995 model.
Speaking of which, he's looking on the inside there, Jeremy Mayfield, as they come down the front straightaway. Jeff Gordon wanting to get into 2nd place and try to catch up to Mark Martin, who's leading.
They really were unhappy with that race car coming into this event. Evernham said this morning they could make it push, they could make it go loose. They just couldn't make it go fast. They readjusted the front fenders on the car. You can see rivets all through them where they readjusted them to try to get the thing to handle better. They did a good job. He's in 2nd spot now.
You've got Earnhardt right there in the mix, too. He's posted 3 top 10 finishes in his last 4 races here.
Well, the crowd's up. Anytime Earnhardt's in the top 5, the crowd gets up on their feet. They don't need seat rooms right now. Everybody's standing, but Bobby Labonte said, let me by.
And Bobby Labonte will grab that 4th spot away.
Almost. Yes, he's finally got it there.
Dale Jarrett right there in the picture as well, but here they come to the crossed flags. Halfway here at the Pocono 500. Mark Martin continuing to lead. There goes a good strike. I love that shot when you see everybody going wide. There you see the story at halfway. Not the biggest of percentages. And by the way, Mark Martin continuing the lead, and that means more money for the Big Brother and Big Sisters organization. Valvoline is donating all sorts of money for every race. Oh, problems for Robert Presley. Problems for Robert Presley. Caution, lap number 101. So Robert Presley gobbled up by Pocono International Raceway. And you see him just waiting for an opportunity to bring the Jasper Engines machine around. As we were saying, Mark Martin gets money from Valvoline that's donated to Big Brother and Big Sisters for every race that he wins, for every Bud Pole he gets, and for every lap he leads. And they've already donated some $122,000 to Big Brother and Big Sister. And they're adding to that total today.
See Robert Presley's car there, the whole left side flat where he got up into the wall. Breaks loose right there. On the driver's side, goes up hard into the outside wall.
Started with 3 wide. Can't do that here at Pocono. Can do it on the straightaway, right? This big front straightaway, but you don't want to try to do it in the turns, not any of them.
But Robert's going to make it around to the pits for repairs to that car. Folks, the TNN Pedal to the Metal sweepstakes underway. If you can write down that Mark Martin was the leader at halfway, you could win the grand prize: Ford F-150 4x4 pickup truck, or another prize, one of 4 trips to NASCAR Winston Cup races, aired right here on TNN. Just jot down your name, the age, your address, phone number, and the name of Mark Martin on the postcard. Send it to that address you see on the screen, or enter online at country.com. And you might just be the winner. And the entry deadline to win a trip to the next race, the Jiffy Lube 300, that deadline is June the 28th. So enter and make sure you jot down the name of Mark Martin. Robert Presley in for service, while those in the pit vista here at Pocono look on just past halfway. Welcome back to Pocono. Folks, if you've never been here, even if you have, you cannot believe the transformation here at the Pocono International Raceway. That is the brand new garage area that debuted here this week. The Mattioli family making the improvements that they have always wanted to make, the dollars available. They have now built some beautiful garages. Brand new grandstands have been added to this track that has hosted stock car races of all sorts since 1971. Dr. Joe and Rose Mattioli and George Ewald, the whole crew here, needing to be congratulated, because Joe is finally realizing the dream. He said, we've got the financial wherewithal to make the changes and make the improvements the way we want to. And they have come up with a beautiful complex new media center and all. It really is first class.
And what a struggle it's been, Eli. I was here for some of the very first races when there was a 3/4-mile racetrack here in the infield, and just the outline of what was going to be Joe Mattioli's dream of a 2.5-mile super speedway. He patched together the financing, went through a lot of rough times, but always hung on to his dream, and it is now a real nice racetrack, and the drivers and crews are so appreciative of that new grandstand.
Yeah, we mentioned stock car races have been here since '71. That's when USAC ran here. NASCAR didn't come in until '74. Dave Marcus is heading to the ambulance, Steve, but obviously we saw him walk into the infield care center in the ambulance. What's the deal?
Yeah, they're just loading Dave in, and he had a little cut on his chin. His business manager, Dwayne Leake, is here. Dwayne, what can you tell us about Dave's condition?
I mean, he took a hell of a hit, so I mean, he's just kind of shaken up from the whole thing, and he's got some cuts in ankle, some chest stuff. So I mean, it looks like it'd be all right, but I mean, he's kind of shaken up pretty good.
Where will he go from here?
They're taking him up to, I guess, in Wilkes-Barre, and we're gonna go up there and see what's kind of going on tonight.
Okay, that was Dwayne Leake, the business manager for Dave Marcus.
But again, the fact we saw Dave walk from his race car to the ambulance, albeit with some assistance, was encouraging. But I don't care if you're a man of 22. That was a lick that's going to shake your bones.
Eli, when you hit head on like that, 9 out of 10 times you move forward in the shoulder harness itself, even though you do have an extra belt there to keep it from, but it's real hard on the sternum area. I'm sure right now that's very sore, and they'll check him over well.
Again, if you're just tuning in, though it's not from this particular caution, this is what happened to Dave at lap number 90. It looks savage in slow motion. Imagine what it looked like and felt like at 180 miles an hour. We're back in a moment. TNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, we keep America running. And by Polaris ATVs. If you're going to ride, ride the best. Polaris. Over-the-road transit for this broadcast provided by Ryder Transportation Services. Welcome back, everybody. Mark Martin leads. That is Ward Burton running in 7th, about a half lap away from the green. Let's get the latest on the Caterpillar car.
Eli, they have a problem with some ducting hanging off the nose of the car. Trip Bruce is working on a piece that he's fabricating here that when they get an opportunity to bring Ward into the pit area, they're going to try to put this up underneath the nose of the car. What they hope to do is get that ducting back up out of the area of the airflow, and then hopefully the push in the car that Ward is currently experiencing will go away. You can see Tripp pulling up the nose. What they're going to do is try to rivet this right to the front nose piece. Glenn?
Well, Ralph, I moved down to the pole sitter Sterling Marley's pits, and he had fallen way, way behind, and I knew there was something wrong with the car. Sterling got into the wall coming off of turn 3 or 6 or 8 or 9, whatever that flat turn is down there, and he cocked the rear end of the car. They brought him in several times under the pits here, and got the rear end straightened out. He should be okay now. We're back to green.
Indeed we are, as we're back at lap 106 of 200. Mark Gordon, Mayfield, Bobby Labonte, and Dale Jarrett, and look at that bump and go.
Aha!
Jeff Gordon trying to use the inside groove.
Mark Martin just drove it on down in the corner right there. They're going to come off the corner, and the 6th car, Mark Martin, gets the drive.
And you know that Jeff Gordon is thinking 5 bonus points right now. That's what he's looking for.
And he'll get it, because now going down in the tunnel turn, he gets that position and takes the lead.
So Jeff Gordon showing the way here at Pocono. This would be the 9th straight Pocono race he has led.
Mark Martin's falling back. He's dropped about 3 positions. I don't know what's gone wrong with the car, whether it has a handling problem or what, but he did drop back some.
Look at Dale Jarrett. Around Dolan back, bringing a host of guys with him.
Kyle Petty on the inside of Mark Martin going down, trying to get by him there, going down to the turn 1.
22 on the lead lap. Ward Burton right in the middle of that mix. And here comes Jeremy Mayfield trying to wind it up. And look at the tape there on Mayfield's car being pulled back by the wind.
That's nothing to worry about. That's what we call 200-mile-an-hour duct tape. They put it on the front of these cars. He had a little damage in a wreck earlier, right on that nose part right there. They put that tape on there. Hey, if that makes it run like it, they'll probably put another strip on it and let it fly.
As long as it doesn't close off the radiator opening, he'll be fine.
So Jeremy Mayfield, who won here last year, trying to hold off the challenge of Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon awfully strong down the straightaway. That kind of knocks their theory about that fender sticking out in the air, hurting his straightaway speed, is certainly not doing that.
And you can see it. That left rear fender is sticking right out. It just hooks the air. It's amazing he's running as well as he is.
That was still Jeff Gordon who led that last lap by literally half an inch.
Mark Martin working with the 24 car. Jeff Gordon as they go down in the tunnel turn. Bobby Labonte just behind them. Dale Jarrett right with them as they go down through the tunnel turn.
Riding with Mark Martin now. Heading to turn 3. You see Mayfield to his outside.
Oh, don't do it. I thought he was coming down. That's a bad place to get touched right there.
Kind of an off-camber kind of situation.
Yes, it is, and the car is very light.
Look at Ward going 7 or 8 wide in the cat car.
That's neat. Coming off that flat turn, they just fan out.
Bobby Labonte looking on the outside of Mark Martin as we watch Dale Jarrett really make a run towards the front.
Jarrett's been strong all day. So is this 18 of Bobby Labonte.
Listen to the motor scream as they head down in the tunnel turn there. Mark Martin getting the inside.
Jeremy Mayfield finally broke through with that first win here a year ago, passing his boyhood idol Darrell Waltrip late in the race.
Well, it's Dale Jarrett right now, the way that car is moving through the corners, he must have gotten that car balanced out the way he wants it, because that thing is a rocket ship down the straightaway. Tony Stewart back there in the orange car looking on the inside of Jimmy Spencer as they head down into turn 1.
He's in 9th, Stewart is. Jimmy Spencer, he is in 26th, a lap down.
Oh, this is neat.
Jarrett, power move. Give him the lead again here at Pocono.
Crowd is on its feet.
That would be a car I would want to draft right now, I think.
If you can hang on, if you can hang on to.
Yeah, that'd be a car you'd want to own right about now. Jarrett says he doesn't really know why that car is as good as it is. He says it's hard to tell. It just feels good. It responds to all the changes they put in it. And, boy, it's running as well today as it did in Michigan last week.
Saw Martin get around Mayfield. The 6 past the 12. Now we're riding with Bobby Labonte in that mix.
Bobby Labonte has a lot of trust in the 12 car there. Jeremy Mayfield on the outside, but he has the preferred line. He should get that spot without much trouble.
I'd have thought Jeremy would bring the car that he won with last year, but they didn't. This is a different car. They said that they've come up with something a little bit better than last year, so this is not the same one that they won with.
Into the tunnel turn, 2x2 there. Jeremy, you're in trouble.
Yeah, here comes Ward.
Not the place to be. Ward Burton will grab the spot. Kyle Petty in the 44, not on the lead lap. He's a lap down in 25th. But you know, Jeremy's always run well here. You think back in '95 when he was just on the scene, his first and only top 10 of that year was here at Pocono when he finished 8th.
I think it has a lot to do with the racetrack we learned to drive on up in Nashville, Tennessee. The racetrack is very, very hard to get the cars hooked up. You have to use a lot of finesse as far as getting off the corner. This is the finesse racetrack.
Jeff Gordon in second. Right behind Dale Jarrett. Something for everybody at this racetrack. Mid stages of the Pocono 500. There you see the front cars. Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon. They have half a second on third place. Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte fourth, Ward Burton fifth. Jeremy Mayfield all the way back to 6th now, buddy.
Eli, as long as he was up there with the first 4 cars and they were all battling back and the air was stirred up pretty well, that nose damage didn't hurt him that much. But you can tell right now when he got in clean air, that nose damage he has right there on the nose of that race car, the tape's pulled back and it's actually lifting the nose of the car, so he's going through a pretty hard time right now. They'll have to retape that to get him back up to speed.
Is that going to be enough, Glenn, just to retape it, or what else do they have planned?
Well, Eli, that's the main thing they want to do right now. They see the tapes coming off. They're watching the television monitor down in the pits, and they know that that's causing a lot of problems for Jeremy. Kills the downforce on the nose of the car, and we were watching him when he was in traffic there, like Buddy says. When he's right up under somebody, it's fine, but when he's out in clean air, it lifts the nose of the car and makes it push, and he can't keep it down on the racetrack the way he wants to and run the kind of speeds through the corner. So yeah, I think that's the first thing they're going to do is to try to tape that nose so that he's got a little bit of aero package on the car.
Jeremy Mayfield running in 6th ahead of Dale Earnhardt, now in 7th. If you're a Robert Presley fan or a Dick Trickle fan, both of those cars have just now gone to the garage area. So the attrition list right now includes Rusty Wallace, Joe Nemechek, Jeffrey Bodine. Jeff Burton has been on and off the racetrack. He's back on now. Dave Marcus, Robert Presley, and Dick Trickle.
Here comes Tony Stewart. Now he's looking on the inside of Earnhardt down the front straightaway with Ernie Irvin right behind him.
Indeed, Tony Stewart.
Not yet. Catching Earnhardt and passing him are 2 different things.
He made some gutsy moves across the tunnel turn a little while ago. Tony Stewart did.
One thing he's not short on, that's bravery. I've watched him run on dirt tracks and open wheel cars, and I'll tell you what, he'd go bear hunting with the switch. He's a tough little fella.
He was good in a midget, good in a sprint car, good in a Silver Crown car. So-so in a Busch Series car, but he is terrific in a Winston Cup car. Former IRL champion.
Of course, as we mentioned, Tony had a tough time in his very first trip around this track when he crashed here a couple of weeks ago. I was curious the other day whether that bothered him as he prepared here today for race day.
Well, it did for a little while, but once I got back to the shop and everybody's explained to me how many good race car drivers have crashed here, you know, it took a little bit of the pressure off, I guess, from the standpoint to just, you know, it was a learning deal. If you don't crash a car every now and then, they don't think that you're trying hard enough. So it made everybody think I'm human finally, and in the shop at least. And you know, it was something I learned something from. And as long as when you have an accident like that and you can learn from it, then it's a plus.
Rookies are doing real well today. Stewart right now running an A spot. Steve Park would also not run here at Pocono on the big racetracks, running in 11th position.
Dale Jarrett leading, Jeff Gordon second, Mark Martin running third. You know, each of those guys finished in the top 5 in both races here at Pocono last year. Jarrett was third and fifth. Jeff Gordon was second and first. Mark Martin was fifth and second. So again, Glenn, I guess we shouldn't be surprised, huh?
No, that's those guys always seem to have a pretty good package for this racetrack. And talking about Jeff Gordon, I just talked to Ray Evernham. He says that Ray says that Jeff is saying the car is a little bit loose right now. The next regularly scheduled pit stop is not until around lap 135, so he's just going to have to ride it out right now. Normally, when a car's up real close behind another one like Jeff is to Dale Jarrett, it'll tend to make the car a little tight. But Jeff's reporting a loose condition right now. He's just going to have to ride it out.
And we're just at lap number 118, so referencing Glenn's lap 135 there, you can tell it's going to be just a bit. There's third and fourth place, Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte. Right behind them is Ward Burton. We're at lap 119 of 200. That'll make up the distance in today's Pocono 500. Back at Pocono, Dale Jarrett still leading Jeff Gordon. Hey, quick reminder, want everybody to know that TNN Motorsports is now offering official NASCAR merchandise, including all the die-cast collectibles that you might want to add to your collection. As Gordon grabs the lead, you can call that number you see on the screen and pick up the latest in NASCAR collectible merchandise from TNN Motorsports. Well, Gordon's been strong there all day, but Jarrett's has the oomph here on the main straightaway.
Eli, it looked like Dale Jarrett right now is just doing what he wants to do out there. I think he let Jeff Gordon go by just that second. Maybe check his line out, see what he's doing now. You see him looking to the inside. He says, well, I don't see anything I'm impressed with there. I think I'll just move back up.
Jarrett's got everything he needs. He's got a ton of horsepower. The car is handling beautifully. There's no body damage on it at all.
You wonder where that right rear fender that's bowed out on Gordon's car, and we can see it particularly coming off 3 on that main straightaway shot, that head-on shot. You wonder where it's really hurting him the most, because he's got to be catching not so much from that angle, but from the other side. He's got to be scooping up air.
Absolutely, and that could have something to do with the loose condition they're talking about, because his car, it looked like a little parachute right there on that right corner. My drawing's not so good, but you can see that dark part sticking out. That's almost like a parachute on the back of the 24.
Vincent Van Gogh, but you got the idea.
Just imagine how much faster he would be if that was not there.
Why don't we set the field for you behind Jarrett and Gordon? The front 2, or as you can see, about a car length or so apart. You drop back 1 4/10 seconds to Bobby Labonte, and then behind Bobby you go another second back to Mark Martin. That's your top 4 right there. Then from Mark Martin you pull further back, way back. You've got Chad Little in the car 97. He's running in 37th, 20 laps down. And there's the 22 of Ward Burton, who is in 5th. He's 4.9 seconds behind the leader, Dale Jarrett. And you pull back and wait for Tony Stewart to come in the screen. He is 6th right now, 7 7/10 seconds back of the race leader. Behind him, you've got Jeremy Mayfield. That's where he has backslid to. They're the Mobil 1 team right there, along with Ernie Irvin. They are each 9.5 seconds back, battling for positions 7 and 8 on the lead lap. Then back further, you've got Dale Earnhardt, car number 3. He's 9th. 10.2 seconds back. Kyle Petty in the 44. He's in 25th, a lap down. And the 4, that's Bobby Hamilton, who is on the lead lap in 10th. So Hamilton battling with the 3 of Earnhardt for position. Steve Park, he's in 11th. He is 10 7/10 seconds back of the race leader. Then the 75, Ted Musgrave, a good run, always runs well at Pocono. He is in 12th, 11 1/10 back of the leader. Then Jimmy Spencer comes into view. He's in 26th right now. He is a lap down, Spencer is. Behind him on the racetrack is Kenny Wallace in car 55. He's 32nd. He is 3 laps down. Made a few unscheduled stops today, Kenny has. Next on the racetrack is Bill Elliott, who is in 13th on the lead lap. And there is Bill right now as we ride with him across the tunnel turn. He is 13 seconds behind the race leader, Dale Jarrett. Others on the racetrack behind him, you've got Mike Skinner. He is in the position on the lead lap in 14th spot. Kevin LePage in the 16. He too on the lead lap. They're 14th and 15th. Skinner and LePage are 14 and a half behind. Then Rich Bickle in car 45. He's 33rd. Bickle is a couple of laps down. Again, LePage battling Skinner. That is for position. Behind those cars right there as LePage makes the pass and grabs 14th. You've got Kenny Schrader in 34th spot, car 33. Schrader is 4 laps down. Gives you an idea of what these guys deal with, albeit back in 15th and 16th spot. You see them head back off in turn number 1. LePage to hold on to that spot now, taking it from Skinner. Then further back, next in line, you've got Ricky Rudd in car number 10. Ricky is being shown in 16th spot, 17 seconds back. The 98 right behind him is Rick Mast. He's also on the lead lap. Rick, you see him as we look rearward from Ricky Rudd. Rick Mast is in 17th, 17 and a half seconds back as well. Then we pull further back. You'll see Sterling Marlin behind Chad Little. We saw Chad a while ago. We'll go bypast him into the 40 of Sterling Marlin. He is on the lead lap right now in 18th spot. The 21 is Elliott Sadler. He is in 27th position, 2 laps down, driving for the Wood Brothers. And that is Elliott Sadler right now. See him shifting as he heads towards turn number 1.
See 189 miles an hour. He's just a little bit off of the top speed of some of the faster cars out there, but Elliott Sadler's getting a lot of experience right now, and I guarantee you before it's all over, he'll be one of the front runners.
Then continuing our run down through the field, you've got the 26 of Johnny Benson. He's 28th right now. Johnny is being shown a lap down. Then Jerry Nadeau on the racetrack. He is in 29th spot. It's trouble. Kenny Irwin. Caution on the speedway. Everybody gets warmed down. Kenny Irwin.
You can see flame coming out of the car. There was nothing wrong with it. That's unspent fuel in the exhaust pipes itself when he was trying to refire the car there.
Kenny was on the lead lap in 19th spot.
See his hood, roof flaps there, they have already employed on top of the car, so he went all the way around.
Caution on the speedway right now.
6th time it comes out, lap 128. So the leader, Dale Jarrett, as the field will sort itself out. Certainly you're not going to go from here.
No, but one thing, as you were going back through the field just then, Bobby Labonte was absolutely flying. He was almost a mile an hour a lap faster than the front 2 cars.
Taking a look at what happened to Kenny Irwin before. Let's see the incident with Michael Waltrip behind him.
You can see Darrell Waltrip. That's Terry Labonte right there. Michael Waltrip in the 7 gets into the back of him, makes him wiggle just a little bit, He spins there. He did not collect the wall, though. He just spun around and down to the inside of the racetrack. Watch the 7 car, Michael Waltrip, right here. He nudges him.
It's all she took.
Doesn't take much here. Really doesn't.
Whoa, Andretti. John just missed him.
John is very good in those situations. He is about as good as anybody at avoiding trouble. He went through that wreck early on here in the race on lap number 2. Went right through a whole bunch of stuff. Didn't hurt the race car.
Wally Dallenbach was eyeball to eyeball with Kenny Irwin as he was spinning there. Luckily, they didn't make contact.
They'll reset that roof flap when they make their pit stop here in just a moment.
Irwin had a couple of good finishes coming to Pocono. He was 10th at Dover, 11th at Michigan. Last year at June, he started 36th and finished 11th, past 25 cars here at Pocono this race in 1998.
And Kenny has top 15 finishes now in his last 3 races. So things are starting to turn for that Texaco Haviland team. It's amazing what seat time can do for you in this business, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And let me explain something. Michael Waltrip was right up behind him there, and if the 28 car checked up any at all, they were so close he couldn't avoid touching him at that point of the racetrack, and that's what caused the spin.
All right, all the leaders coming in. These stops will be at lap 130. These stops at lap 130. Jarrett the leader, 24 Gordon in second, 18 Labonte in third. Let's go to Ralph.
Well, Dale Jarrett is in being serviced. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment to the right rear. They're going to take a half a round out of the left rear as well. They will take 4 tires of fuel. They even got a guy over the wall to clean the windshield. Good clean for him. Steve
Ralph Labonte service is finished. No adjustments. 4 tires and gas. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett.
Gordon just pulled away. They got 4 tires and fuel also, Steve. They were talking about putting around in the Panhard bar to try to tighten the car up. Jeff didn't want to go that radical. He told Ray Evernham just to do air pressure adjustments, try to snug the car up a little bit.
Mark Martin's team getting the job done. We saw them earlier with some great pit stops. Watch this from onboard Kenny Irwin.
Okay, he's right behind Terry Labonte. Hear him in the throttle. Oh, they make contact right there.
Look at him trying to catch the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Look at that work.
It's a handful and then some. Under caution. Lap 130 here at Pocono International Raceway. 70 laps from the finish of the Pocono 500.
Drivers, race teams, and race fans, the 99 Team Simpson Racing Catalog's now available. For more information, call 1-800-71-RACIN or visit the Simpson website at simpsonraceproducts.com and join Team Simpson today. Mack Trucks are furnished by Clement Chevy Mack Sales. For all your truck and tractor needs, call Clement at 1-800-369-MACK. Winnebago Industries, the official motorhome of TNN Motorsports. For information on Winnebago Industries products or the Winnebago Motorsports team, call 1-800-643-4892.
Mark Martin leads the Pocono 500. Glad you're with us. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Dick Berggren, Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, and Steve Burns. Let me ask you, it's clear nobody can go from here on fuel. What do they look like? What's the fuel window, and how far can these guys go towards the finish now?
Eli, talking to some of the crew chiefs prior to the race, they said 38, maybe 40 laps, but that would be pushing it. So, yes, they will have to stop for gas one more time. Just spoke with Greg Zipadelli, the crew chief for Tony Stewart on the 20, and as you guys have noted, they've had just a tremendous, consistent run for the first time he's been on this racetrack. They made a minor chassis adjustment that time, raised the track bar just a bit, obviously 4 tires and gas. Let's go to Ralph.
Steve, for Mark Martin, he's a little tight right now. They made a half-pound air adjustment in the right rear, and that was just about it. He's good to go from there. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, moved down to Jeremy Mayfield's pit, guys, to check on that nose problem that they had. They tried to take that tape off and start over, but when they went to fix it earlier, they pop riveted that tape to the car, so they couldn't get it off. And so they made a chassis adjustment to try to free the car up. The push is primarily, like we were seeing earlier, when if he gets up behind another car and takes the air off the nose, that's when it seems to be the very, very worst. But they didn't get it fixed the way they want to, but the car's not running all that bad.
At least we know they use first-class pop rivets. No question about that. There you see the pit summary, so you know who's where. Mark Martin from 4th to 1st, and Ward Burton coming out of the short end of the exchange. Tire stops for everybody here at Pocono under caution, and tires are always a big story when you come to a super speedway. How big is Goodyear's impact? Let's learn from Glenn.
We're going to do a tire story with a little bit different slant on it. We're down here at the Goodyear Tire Mounting Center, where the guys mount all the tires for the Winston Cup cars for a weekend of racing here at Pocono. Now, these guys over here to the left, these are some of the guys that mount these tires. Pretty big, sturdy-looking guys. How many tires do they mount? Well, there's 43 cars in the field. Each car gets 60 tires. That's 15 sets. That's a total of 2,580 tires. There's 12 of these guys that do that. That means that each one of these guys mounts 215 tires apiece. They weigh 75 pounds. That's a total of 16,025 pounds of tires that each one of these guys mounts. Folks, that's 8 tons of tires. But let's go a little bit further. Let's talk about the money. 60 tires per car times $374 per tire. State sales tax 6% is included in that. $21,180 per race car times 43 race cars. $965,350 worth of tires that these guys mount on the weekend. These are pretty tough guys. I'm not going to mess with them, but I'm going to ask them to excuse me right now because I want to go find out about getting a Goodyear tire distributorship. See you guys.
Those are some impressive numbers.
Well done, too. Yeah.
That's a lot of big-time stuff right there. Here's some other good numbers to look at. Roush Racing and how they are faring. Jeff Burton, of course, today in 41st. He's 56 laps down. Mark Martin is the race leader. Chad Little's had problems. He's 35th today. Johnny Benson has been in and out of the mix throughout the course of the afternoon. He finds himself in 28th. And Kevin LePage is in 13th on the lead lap. And there's the cat in the hat, Jack Roush himself. Green flag. Lap 134 of 200.
Wow, Gordon started to move to the inside. Martin would have nothing to do with that, so he's going to try him on the outside. If he pulls that off, he definitely is made out of hero material.
Outside passes in turn number 1, nothing you see all that often.
Petty laps down, but looking awful racing. He's been dicing with the leaders for a whole bunch of laps.
Yeah, he's a lap down at 25th, but you're right. He's right there among the fastest cars of the day.
Well, this is probably one of the most dangerous parts of the race is on a restart. When the tires are not up to pressure yet, they drop the air pressure, and as they run along and the tire gets hotter, of course, the air pressure comes up. So right now, it's like riding on a bag of worms almost. That thing is not handling like you want it to. So these laps right now, they really have to be cautious.
In the middle of all that, some pretty good battles for position. Bobby Hamilton in the 4. And Dale Earnhardt just ahead of him, or behind him there. They swapped the position around on the racetrack now. Earnhardt ahead of Hamilton. They're working 6th and 7th. As you see, NASCAR timing and scoring. Brought to you by OnNet from MCI WorldCom, your one connection to the world.
Tony Stewart just behind Jeremy Mayfield. Jeremy's car is easy to see. There's a piece of tape on the left front for anybody just joined us. You can see it flapping in the breeze there. It don't seem to hurt the car as long as it's in a lot of traffic, but he gets out by himself and the front of the car lifts up. Very hard to steer in the corner.
There's an aluminum hook to that piece of tape as well. They had tried to plug up the front of the grill area to solve an aerodynamic problem caused by damage, but came undone.
Came undone. Ward Burton in the 22, following right through behind Jeremy Mayfield there.
I went there last year on a cruise. Came undone. Oh, never mind. Okay, enough of that. Here comes Tony Stewart just behind Jeff Burton. These two cars are capable of running with the leaders, but right now they have pretty bad track position. They need to get up through the flat traffic and get back up to the front.
A lot of time yet. The Tony Stewart in that orange number 20, battling with Bobby Hamilton.
You know, you hear all the time about how intense the race drivers' lives are. Tony Stewart got to Pocono and unwrapped his fishing gear. He's caught 9 bass on 2 nights since he's been here. He said nothing big enough to clean, but fun to catch him anyway.
We went fishing at one of the lakes up here at Pocono. Very frustrating. I remember going out, seriously, went out there one time and dropped the line in. The first 3 times I put the line in, the fish just jumped in the boat, one of those little lakes up here. And then the rest of the 2.5 hours we were up there, not even a nibble. So I don't even have the luck that Tony Stewart does on the racetrack or on the fishing pond. That's the battle for the lead, and there's the legendary Morris Metcalf, NASCAR's chief of timing and scoring. He'll retire after next year's Daytona 500. Welcome back, everybody, as we continue from Pocono International Raceway in Pennsylvania. That's the battle for the lead. Mark Martin ahead of Jeff Gordon. Bobby Labonte, that green car, along with Dale Jarrett in the blue. They have pulled away now by 2.5 seconds from Ernie Irvan, who has gotten himself a superb 5th place run going. Earnhardt, Mayfield, Ward Burton, all the other cars that are in the mix among those on the lead lap.
Best run of the year for Ernie Irvan so far.
Saw Robert Presley, the slow car there on the inside of the racetrack, just coming out of the garage. Got a brief glimpse of him. Robert's 35 laps down.
Yeah, that car shouldn't be that competitive from here on out because it took a hard hit on the driver's side.
You see Mark Martin out here leading the race. They had time trials for the qualifying sessions on Friday, and boy, Pocono puts a ton of fans, an absolute ton of fans in the pit area. They all stand behind the concrete wall. Mark Martin turned the corner, and he just started to sign autographs, and he signed, and he signed, and he signed, and he signed until the last minute when he scooted up to his race car, jumped into it. Pocono provides, even for Winston Cup, abnormal accessibility, and it's guys like Mark Martin that help bring the fans here.
Oh, he's one of the most liked of all the drivers. I mean, you can tell who they really like when they qualify, and when he goes out on the racetrack, the fans just come alive because he has that relationship with the fans.
He runs so well here, too. He's led 7 out of the last 8 races here, including today. 3 poles, 7 top 10s in a row. Hard to believe he's never won at Pocono.
Yeah, really has. A lot of good race car drivers have never mastered this racetrack. Dale Jarrett, meanwhile, led most recently from laps 123 through 130. We're now at lap 141. There he is. When we go down to the Jarrett pit, are they all satisfied with the way the 88 car's dialed in?
No, they're not, Eli. Right now, Dale Jarrett's a little bit on the loose side. He radioed in just a few laps ago, told Todd Jarrett, his crew chief, he was loose. They said hang in there, and they're going to have one more pit stop to go before this race is done.
All right, Ralph, thanks a lot as we get the latest on Jarrett, who has led 4 times today for a grand total of 71 laps.
For the people that just turned in and really hadn't watched auto racing a lot, when you hear somebody talking about loose or push, what they're talking about, when they say it's pushing, that means the front end of the car won't turn and it's losing grip on the front. And of course, when it's loose, the back end is trying to come around on the race car.
There are the leaders heading back off into turn number 1. Tools are at the ready. Pit stops yet to come before the finish. Lap 144 of 200 here at Pocono International Raceway. Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, the top 4. Same fellas will be in action on TNN on July the 11th, racing at the Magic Mile in Loudon, New Hampshire. Hope you can join us for the Jiffy Lube 300. That is Sunday, July 11th at 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 Pacific, right here on TNN Motorsports. That is July 11th. That's a totally different racetrack from this one. That New Hampshire Oval. Lap 145 now. Mark Martin still showing the way. Oh, David Green slowing on the racetrack. We just saw the Kodiak Chevrolet as the leaders went by him.
He's got a long way to go before he gets to the pit area.
He does
wonder if he's under power, because if he's not, maybe he can find one of those little turnoff roads.
Yeah, there's a turnoff road. You see him turning in off the racetrack right there. It takes him out of harm's way as the race cars go by on the outside there.
I've got a lot of little infield roads that join up with the big triangular racing surface as part of their road courses and so on.
But he still has to make it back to pit road, or a caution will come out, because he's trying to get to the front straightaway here. He's barely moving.
So we'll keep an eye on that while we see Mark Martin looking back towards Jeff Gordon, just a tenth of a second back. Of course, Mark Martin only one win here in 1999. He had 4 at this point. 1998.
Just watching Jeff Gordon's car there is really balanced out pretty well right now. We were concerned about the right rear corner of that car being torn up a little bit.
Caution.
That does not seem to hurt it.
You see David Green sitting right there. Caution is on the speedway. 7th time. Lap 147. There's David Green's Kodiak Chevy. Now we're at lap 148 when the teams make their pit stop. Still cannot make it the distance.
I agree. I don't think they can. They're still going to have to do another pit stop after this one.
If they're going like Steve told us, 38 to 40 laps, well, they'll be looking at 52. They certainly can't make it from that point.
That'll come down to a splash and go. I would imagine if they do that, nobody will change tires on the last stop. They'll just run in there, get a splash of fuel, and go at it.
Of course, you never know what's going to happen between now and then. As we ride with Robert Presley, who is 36 laps down now in 38th spot after spending a good bit of time in the garage area. He, of course, spun and brought out caution number 5 of the day back on lap 101. All the lead cars pitted 17 laps ago. They'll be coming in again at lap 148. And that'll leave them roughly 15 laps shy of the finish.
Yeah, that's still a long ways on this racetrack. And this is one racetrack you can't just say, I'm going to try to make it, because if you ever run out of fuel as you go by the start-finish line, you're toast for the day.
Just won't make it back. Absolutely cannot make it back.
And with no banking to keep the speeds up here, this is a long 2.5-mile layout.
What do you do now? Pit?
Oh, yeah. Got to at this point. David Green is now on pit road, and he is stopped near Victory Lane just to get out of everybody's way.
I bet Bobby Labonte's starting to hyperventilate a little bit, because the 41 is just in front of where his pit stop.
But they're pushing the David Green car towards Victory Lane to open up all the pit road for everybody else.
Well, Bobby made it in. You can see him sliding the tires as he come into his pit stop there. Number 18 there I'm talking about.
Martin, Gordon, Bobby Labonte. You see the A1 steak sauce pit box. A1 steak sauce, the sizzle starts here, and those are some pretty sizzling pit stops. Good numbers. Ralph, what they do to Mark Martin? Routine?
Eli, was pretty much routine, but they were talking about making an air pressure adjustment to the car. Just about a ½ pound in the right rear was all they wanted to do to the car. 4 tires of fuel, Glenn.
Ralph, we were down at Jeff Gordon's pits, and as I said the last time, his car was loose. It was still just a little loose, so they were going to make an adjustment there. They put 1 can of fuel in, 4 tires. Steve?
Hey, Glenn, they did make a chassis adjustment to Bobby Labonte's number 18 car, but the biggest problem they had, David Green's car had stopped on pit road, blocking their entrance onto the into their pit box, and Jimmy Maycar talking to a NASCAR Winston Cup official right now, but I'll tell you what, they were really upset about their entrance being stymied by the 41 car.
We had talked about it. The NASCAR officials did the best they could. There weren't many areas to place the car, so they pushed it towards the entrance to Victory Lane just to get it as much out of the way as possible. That was a no-win situation for everyone, as Green now, as you saw, goes to the garage. Well, Jimmy Maycar, Ray Evernham, and all the crews waiting resume. CNN Motorsports live coverage of the Pocono 500 is being brought to you by the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Wider is better. By Sonic, where we invite you to drive in for a change. And by Midas. Go safely. Go Midas. Back with you at Pocono International Raceway, 51 laps from the conclusion of the Pocono 500. There is Dale Jarrett all the way back in 10th spot after this series of pit stops. Don't forget, folks, NASCAR rocks. June 27th, Hartford, Connecticut. On to the Queen City on the Ohio. And to Baltimore and Washington and Virginia Beach, NASCAR rocks. Check it out. Tickets are available at locations near you. Houston, Texas. Check it out. It'll be a good time. We saw Dale Jarrett, Ralph, all the way back in 10th spot. What's the deal?
Eli, he came in, he took one round of wedge out of the car and took 1 pound of air out of the left rear as well. Now, Ward Burton, on the other hand, in the 22 car, he only took 2 tires. Jarrett took 4 and fuel. He took right side tires and adjusted air pressures on the 22. Glenn, Jarrett?
Well, Ralph, Dale Earnhardt made another big gain on pit road here. These guys cranked off another 15.25 pit stop, changing 4 tires, putting a can of fuel in the car, and also taking a round of bite out of the car. Dale's been fighting a tight condition all day. Also, the car that Dale owns, the car of Steve Park, moved way up in the field. He came in and took fuel and only 2 tires. Here's Steve Burns.
Hey, thanks, Glenn. Tony Stewart, the number 20, came in. He's also fighting a tight race car. They made a wedge adjustment to try and loosen him up, and obviously 4 tires for Tony Stewart.
Stewart, by 51 points, leads the NASCAR Winston Cup Rookie of the Year battle. Elliott Sadler is second, 51 points back, and Buckshot Jones not here this weekend, 116 back. And there you see in graphic form what the fellas were just telling you. Good deal for Jeremy Mayfield. A lot of pretty good pit stops being pulled off here today at Pocono International Raceway. Across the tunnel turn, we're a half lap away from going green. NASCAR here in the state of Pennsylvania, where they have raced since 1949. Remember that great circular 1 mile track, Langhorne Speedway?
Boy, that was a nasty joint. It was dirt, and the drivers would just set the cars sideways at the drop of the green flag, and they just stay sideways all the way around.
NASCAR even ran near Pittsburgh. A lot of folks might remember the old Heidelberg Speedway. Lee Petty won there outside of Pittsburgh.
And somebody named Buck Baker won at Langhorne, so yeah.
There you go. Got to stick up for your daddy here on Father's Day. Anytime.
Happy Father's Day.
I guess it's one to go, huh? All right, make cars off. You ready?
Mayfield seems like he's gotten that piece of debris off the hood.
What he has to contend with right now is some of these cars like Kyle Petty and a bunch of these cars that are a lap down right now have adjusted on their cars, and they're not that bad.
Final 49 laps of the day.
And here's how we'll find out how good 2 tires is as opposed to 4.
One more pit stop yet to come.
That is a great shot down there. Oh, man, you know, they call that a speed shot. You can see why. It's hard when you sit way back in the grandstand to get the impression of just how fast they're going, but that speed shot proves it. They're whistling through there.
You can see riding along there with Ricky Rudd. He was protecting that low line so nobody could get under him as he started for turn 3. You don't want to get caught on the outside there.
Every time that shot shows up, you see Tony Stewart looking for another spot.
Gotta give him credit for trying. Watch Earnhardt there. You saw him dancing around trying to pass Labonte. Turn 1, problems. Michael Waltrip.
Oh, hard hit.
Michael Waltrip running in 15th spot on the lead lap.
Hard.
Boy, he gave that wall a hit. Again, that's a 200-mile-an-hour approach to that corner.
Eli, we always talk about safety. If you didn't have that rubber tank in the back with the fuel there, that would have been a huge fire just years back.
And look at Ted Musgrave on the lead lap running in 17th. He too has a problem. He was off in the grass. So Jeremy Mayfield continues as the leader. You can look through, you see Michael moving around and climbing from the race car. And he tells the guy, okay, I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm just glad he didn't try to refire it. There was some seepage out of that tank. Ah.
Little pinball machine action there.
That's Bill Elliott there, it looks like, on the outside. They made a little contact.
And you see Musgrave there on the right after he got touched by Michael and ends up in the grass. And let's see what Michael does here. He's staring at someone. You could see he was kind of like the silver ball in the pinball machine. Things really got stacked up there.
Yep, he was going for a ride. Michael's career best finish was here in 1988, June of '88. Started 30th, finished second.
The old Country Time Lemonade car. Remember that bright yellow car with the green lettering? But not today for Michael Waltrip. Let's watch again and see if we can pinpoint exactly who hit whom first.
Okay, they were real tight there. That's Bill Elliott right there. They made slight contact there. That got him up in the... Oh, man, I'm telling you right now.
Almost looked like Bobby...
Ted Musgraves came so close to T-boning Michael Waltrip.
And John
almost like Bobby Hamilton had checked up in front of Michael.
And did you see the 43 car, John Andretti, right through again?
Well, Eli, you're running so close there. If somebody does that, I mean, there's no way to get to the brake before you're already back in the throttle at that point of the corner.
And they were just all stacked up there. Hard to point the finger at anybody, blame anybody for that one.
Yeah.
Look at Michael Waltrip's machine up to the record. His car heavily damaged in a crash.
Jimmy Spencer unlapped himself, by the way. In all of that, he is now back on the lead lap in 23rd position. Cleanup continues out in turn number 1 from the 8th caution of the day. Michael Waltrip with his problems. We're now, as you see on that big scoreboard, lap 154 of 200. Let's take a look again. First in the overhead, you'll see everything just stacks up.
Okay, you have cars that are right in front of the accident itself, right along here. That might have caused them to back off just a little bit. Bill Elliott makes contact with the 7 car, Michael Waltrip.
Ricky Rudd was in there. Bill Elliott was in that mix. And let's see what Ricky saw.
Well, we lost so much back position.
Oh!
Yeah. Now Bill Elliott.
Boom. Wow.
Well, you heard the throttle. He was out of the gas, and I'm sure on the brake as well.
Yeah, it all happens that quickly when they're all working in one big pack of traffic. And Bill Elliott now coming in to make pit stops. We're at lap 156 now. Rich Bickle is in, Andretti, Jeff Green, Ricky Rudd, and Terry Labonte all in, along with Bill Elliott, and we're watching being serviced by the drive-through crew. Remember, 38 to 40 laps. Well, 40 laps from now is 196 of a 200-lap race. We're getting close to this being a fuel mileage deal again.
Yes, it
here
is.
at Pocono. We are back still under caution, and we're all sitting here playing the numbers game in the booth. Lap 156 complete. They're working 157. Still have not gotten the 1 to go signal as the cleanup, you see, extensive in turn 1 after the Michael Waltrip accident. somebody's going to try and go the distance here.
I've got a feeling you're right, Eli, and I'll tell you who it might be. We will be able to tell if anybody ducks in for fuel here in just a lap or two.
Michael Waltrip has just come from the infield care center. Let's get an update on him.
Well, Eli, Michael has a custom Happy Father's Day shirt, but it's not a very happy Father's Day for you. What happened?
It's a neat shirt, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Buffy and Macy made that. You know, restarts are tough. You just kind of stack it in there, and you know people are going to check up, and the guys in front of me checked up, I checked up, and whoever was behind me just, run over me wide open. Couldn't hit me any harder. It's just disappointing because we run 18th or 20th all day long. We worked on the car. We had it better and better. Phillips Electronics, Klausner Furniture, Phillips Light Bulb, Chevy finally was running. We got it toward the top 10. All that work, and now we're going to finish in the back. When you race steady and try to collect up points, these kind of things just kill you. And we didn't have a car capable of winning today, but we were smart, and we were going to run close to the top 10, and then get taken out. Man, it just breaks my heart.
Frustrating end to a good day for Michael Waltrip.
How was that?
Yep, tough day for old Michael. Indeed, folks did check up around him.
Well, while we're into caution, let's see if we can talk to John Andretti. He just took a little bit of fuel there. John Andretti, Dick Bergman at TNN.
Hey, Dick.
How you doing, John? Looks like you're ducking a whole lot of wrecks out there.
Right now, I think that's about all we're doing. We're trying to been fighting for track position all day, just haven't been able to get it. Been working on the car, and it's been getting better, but we'll see how it goes here at the end.
You just stopped for fuel, John. Can you go all the way?
No, I don't think so, but I don't think anybody can.
Okay, good luck, John.
Well, a lot of guys are going to come in and top off. All the leaders are coming down the pit lane to top off fuel as the field gets the 1-to-go signal. Just fuel here. It'll be lap 158 when we come back. You're looking at around 42 to go, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm noticing the 18 car took on 4 tires.
They are taking on tires. Everybody else coming in for fuel. Jimmy Maycar and the boys going for tires. Gonna be close. Gonna be close. Of course, it might go out the window if we have another caution, but gonna be interesting to see.
And Steve Park picked up a couple of tires, so he's got fresh left sides on his race car now.
Glenn, we've heard from Steve talking about anywhere from 38 to 40 laps. How much of a fudge factor do you think there is in here?
Well, Eli, at this racetrack, because it's so long and it's so flat, I can't imagine there's more than a lap of the fudge factor. I don't know. These guys are they're stretching it an awfully long way. I've seen cars go 41 laps today, and I believe that the either the 20 or the 18 did go like 42 laps. So it's possible. That the guys that came in, obviously they're thinking they can make it, particularly if they get another caution flag right away. But then that's going to allow those other guys to come in and top off too. So I don't know. It's a gamble anyway. It's going to be fun to see.
It is going to be fun to see, and of course you're right. Bobby Labonte always gets great fuel mileage.
He does that. It starts right now when the green flag comes out. You have to think of taking care of the fuel on these race cars.
There you see pit stops again. Jimmy Fennick not as tickled this time as he and Jack Roush were last time after the pit stop. You see they're checking the overflow can, the catch can, to see what was in there. All right, here we go. Lap 158 will wrap up with that green flag from Rodney Wise. 41 laps to finish it. Everything's sorting out cleanly enough on this restart.
How about Darrell Waltrip in 5th place right now?
He had pitted just a lap or two before the leaders and taken on his fuel.
Yeah, Darrell came in at lap 157. The others came in at 158, so he got track position with that.
I don't care. It's nice to see Darrell Waltrip in fifth. I don't care how he got there.
Well, let me tell you something. He is a master of fuel mileage also. He knows how to stretch a gallon of fuel, so I wouldn't count him out yet.
And he's a master of strategy as well.
Hey, Ralph, what was the deal with Mark Martin's crew there?
Well, we're going to talk to crew chief Jimmy Fennick here and see if we can find out. Jimmy, can you really make it all the way?
Yeah, we should be good to go to the end.
Are you going to tell him to stop shifting or watch his shift to help conserve fuel now?
We're going to watch it near the end and see where we're running. But right now, we think we can go all the way.
It's going to be close, Eli.
It is going to be close. You see the cat car for Ward Burton. You saw him be bypassed there on the main straightaway. Settles in now behind Earnhardt, back in 10th and 11th spot.
Eli, it was like something maybe in the shifting of the 22 car or something went wrong because he pulled over. Now he's back up to full song.
We've seen guys miss shifts here in the past. You remember it vividly when Jeff Gordon lost a race and Terry Labonte was handed.
Something definitely happened to Burton's car. He was decidedly off the pace there for a little bit, but he seems fine now. Are we close enough?
I know one thing, Jeff Gordon and Johnny Benson right there were rubbing a little sheet metal down the front straightaway, and Jeff Gordon trying to get that inside line on him.
Ralph, what are you hearing from Ward Burton? What was the deal there?
Just talked to crew chief Tommy Baldwin, said it popped out of gear real quick. He was able to shove it back into gear, and he's good to go.
So there's the word on Ward Burton, and now as he starts scrambling back up in that car, has the horses to do it. He's going to challenge Earnhardt for 10th, with Skinner right behind him in the 31.
And so long as you didn't hurt the motor when that thing popped out of gear.
Exactly, because 9 out of 10 times when it pops out like that, the engine will go to 9,000 before you can get your foot back.
There's Dale Jarrett making a move around Darrell Waltrip, who's then shoved out of the way by his Tennessee neighbor Sterling Marlin.
There'll be some Tennessee talk about that when this is over.
So. And now DW has to wait to find a spot to get back in line.
Well, he lost a lot of momentum by sliding out there, so it'll take him that full straightaway to get back up to full song again.
Steve, tough way for Waltrip to be rooted out there.
Yeah, and just a second ago, I talked to his crew chief, Felipe Lopez, to see if I could back up what Buddy Baker said about Darrell stretching the fuel mileage, and he said, hey, Darrell told me he's going to make it, so I believe him.
So do I. He's pretty good at it, I'll tell you. He won Daytona one time by stretching the fuel.
So Darrell Waltrip settles in line. He's back in 13th spot, but Jeremy Mayfield is up with team owner Michael Kranofus watching. Excitement in third, but not for long. Jeff Gordon just blows right by the Team Winston machine.
Yeah, but he's out there really fighting back right now, and he was a lap down. He made up a lap. You see Sterling Marlin moving in on him there in the 40 car, but Jimmy Spencer is putting up a valiant effort, and you know, he does not know what the future holds for him in Winston Cup right now.
Right, he's finished no better than 16th this year, Jimmy Spencer, at Talladega. Glenn, what's the story fuel-wise now on the lead cars? Remember how poor the fuel mileage has been for, I think Jeremy Mayfield has been coming in earlier than most everybody else.
That's right, Eli. That's why the 12 car did not pit on that caution to try to stretch the fuel. They were only getting 34 laps to the tank of gas. They were going to come up 10, 12 laps short, even if they tried to stretch it.
Darrell Waltrip.
Oh, man.
Down there.
Hard hit.
Hard hit for DW. 9th caution. Well, there goes all the question about fuel, because a chance for everybody to stop now, and clearly they can go the distance. You see Darrell moving around in the race car, but another hard hit, an unforgiving corner. When you fly into turn 1, 195, 200 miles an hour. If you don't turn, there's that wall right in your face.
Well, I think probably he got a little help turning there because of the angle of the back of the car. It hit on the left rear corner. That means it went around and hit the outside wall.
So Darrell Waltrip, caution for the 9th time.
Another boy, all right.
And clearly, Glenn, this throws all fuel questions out the window now.
Well, it doesn't, but some of the guys are talking about staying out. the 24 car, Jeff Gordon, we just heard Ray Evans tell him to stay out. I suspect that Mark Martin will try to stay out as well. The 3 car of Dale Earnhardt, he says that he can make it all the way, so we'll just have to wait and see. Steve, what do you got?
You know, I talked to some of the guys on the 18 team here just a minute ago, Glenn. They said they should be all right. Now, they're all poised on pit wall like they're going to stop. Now, I don't know if they're bluffing or not, but they are poised at the ready in case they're going to stop the number 18. Ralph?
Well, the 88 really needed this pit stop. They were not going to be able to make it all the way on fuel, so they're going to bring Dale Jarrett in and fill him up with fuel now. The car seems to be fairly okay. They're pretty happy with that. Mark Martin's going to come in and make a half-pound right rear air adjustment on that car. Everybody with the cloud cover that is now rolled over the racetrack, everybody's car is now handling differently.
Darrell Waltrip, meanwhile, as you see, is out of the race car, but disappointed. Had himself a fine run going, and here in the last 15 minutes got rooted out of the running order by Sterling Marlin at one end of the track. And now the problems in turn 1. Let's see what we can see from Bobby Labonte's car.
Okay, that's Darrell Waltrip, Steve Park under him there.
Well, we didn't see it, but one would assume there was a shove there, though we really couldn't see it clearly from Bobby Labonte's onboard camera. Darrell Waltrip was 5th on the last restart, but his day is going to end up in the garage. And here come the leaders. Here come the leaders. Most everybody else stays on the racetrack here at lap 167. Let's go to Glenn.
And Jeremy will come in as Dale Jarrett needed his pit stop. So did the number 12 car of Mayfield. He absolutely could not make it. And when the caution came out, all these guys down here jumped for joy. So they will put 4 tires on the car, fill him up with fuel, and he'll be good to go the rest of the way. Here's Ralph.
4 tires of fuel for Dale Jarrett, pretty much as we figured they would, and they're done, and he is away.
So all those pit stops taking place at lap 167, but clearly you can see that many, including Bobby Labonte, electing to stay on the racetrack as they work through turn number 1. Mark Martin stayed on the racetrack.
Looked like he was coming in. Mark Martin just headed right to pit road, then either changed his mind at the last minute or he was faking, pulled back out again onto the racetrack.
Eli, they're using hardly any fuel at all around here under the caution. Anybody was even questionable as far as making it right now. The guys would rather have track position right now. That front bunch can make the distance.
Good point. Track position, always the magic words in NASCAR Winston Cup racing, with 33 laps to go here at Pocono. We're going to come right back and continue our coverage of the Pocono 500. Little cloud cover. That's a wonderfully comfortable day for those fans and hopefully for you. Caution for Darrell Waltrip's accident in turn number 1. Pretty well used up that big Kmart Ford.
That's a big wreck, is what that is.
It is. I have to put it on the rollback, on the flatbed, to get it off the racetrack. Well, fuel again should not be a factor now, as we've heard from all the guys on pit road. The marks, those yellow markers, are the fellas who did not make a pit stop. See how they moved up accordingly by staying on the racetrack. Ralph, a lot of rolling of the dice down there, but I guess you don't just want to give up track position.
Well, that's exactly right, Eli, and that's why the 6th car decided to stay out. Mark Martin's car is not handling exactly the way they would like. They would love to have brought him in and made an air pressure adjustment, as we talked about. They thought they were going to do that. The car is getting a little bit tighter. As I mentioned before, huge cloud cover now moving over the speedway has tightened up a lot of the race cars. But Mark is running in 4th. They don't want to give up that track position. Glenn Jarrett?
And Ralph, track position is exactly what Jeremy Mayfield and Dale Jarrett lost a lot of. They came in running 1-2. They came out running, the 12 car is now in 12th. The 88 is all the way back to 16th. There's only going to be about 30 laps left to go. When the green flag flies, it's only about 75 miles. They got a lot of ground to make up. But the determining factor was they had no choice. They had to stop for fuel.
Well, let's find out exactly what happened down there in turn 1. Darrell Waltrip is out of the care center. Steve?
Yeah, I just walked out of the care center, but it doesn't look too happy. What happened, DW?
Oh, I don't know if he's a rookie anymore or not. You'd think somebody, I helped as much as I did park, he wouldn't have run into the back of me, but he just ran down in the corner and lifted me off the ground, spun me around. Ended my day. It's frustrating. I kind of minded my manners and stayed out of trouble all day, and you know, we had the fuel mileage thing figured out. We wasn't going to have to stop again, and sometimes people with fast cars don't do too good.
Tough day for the three-time champion.
It really is, especially as well as he was running. But fuel mileage, always a story whenever you prepare for a race in Pocono. We asked a few of the crew chiefs about fuel mile strategy.
Well, you know, you got to start figuring fuel strategy from the drop of the green flag. The thing about it is 200 laps. Break it up into 4 segments. That's 50 laps. Nobody can really run 50 laps.
Again, it's not a big secret thing. We look at every aspect of what it takes to get fuel mileage. That's engine efficiency. You're burning all the fuel through carburation, a good tuned carburetor, good efficient motor, the gear ratio that we select for the RPM range, and how the car's set up comes into a big play.
You follow the 18. You follow the 18. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hook a chain onto the 18. I'm going to watch them this week, see how they get their fuel cell in the car and everything, and I'm just going to follow the 18 all week until the last lap.
Great idea for Frankie Stoddard. Unfortunately, his driver, Jeff Burton, involved in an accident way back on lap 2, and he is running in 39th spot, some 40 laps down. But you're right, you can do a whole lot worse than following the 18 of Bobby Labonte when fuel is part of the equation. Rodney Wise says, let's get back at it. 29 laps to settle the Pocono 500. Look at Kenny Wallace shooting way out right.
Yeah, they're 4 wide back there. I will tell Jeff Gordon only one thing. That 23 car of Jimmy Spencer behind him, he's hungry at this point in his racing career. And if he can catch him, he better stand on it. That's all I can tell you.
Spencer's lost his sponsor. There's some question as to where he's going to run next year, who's going to be able to drive for. He said, my hat is in the ring. This is a great way to get your hat noticed.
Hasn't won since July of '94 at Talladega. 148 races ago, Jimmy Spencer.
Tony Stewart there on the move in the 20 as he gets under Johnny Benson going down in the corner.
Well, he passed a whole bunch of cars again on the green flag, dropped way down low, went by a lot of them.
He's 7th, Stewart is. You see those clouds that the guys are talking about rolling in overhead after brilliant sunshine earlier.
And you hear guys talking about the race cars getting much, much tighter. That means that the back wheels are actually getting better traction. Here comes Jimmy Spencer.
Spencer in front of the Pennsylvania fans has them standing. Spencer wants the lead.
Well, I'm going to bet you he gets the lead going in this tunnel turn.
He's got it.
Mr. Excitement. Oh! Got together. Listen to the fans here at the Poconos. They are eating it up.
Oh, yeah.
The homeboy is leading.
Well, they watched this guy run modifieds here. They watched his father run modifieds all over Pennsylvania. They love Jimmy Spencer.
The crowd is deafening here. I think everybody's up to greet him as he comes by leading the race.
It's also an underdog situation. Jimmy Spencer's best finish here in a Winston Cup car, 4th in 93.
But Mark Martin says, I love you, but I may have to spoil your party.
Yeah.
Jimmy Spencer fighting back. His great job coming up down the Long Pond straightaway back into the lead.
Yep, Spencer says not so quickly. The Spencer family legendary in these parts.
Sterling Marlin doing very well in 3rd place here in the 40 car, but look at Dale Earnhardt making a drive towards the front.
Spencer family legendary in a lot of places.
Yes, they are. Patriarch Ed Spencer won a bunch of races here in Pennsylvania and other parts of the country in modifieds.
You know, we talked about John Andretti just a little while ago. He's moved all the way up to 5th place in the 43 car.
Yeah, here comes the 18.
Bondi and Jeff Gordon at 6th and 7th spot. Into turn 1. to watch.
It's fun right now. It really is. This is a good race.
Labonte for 5th.
On the inside, Andretti just moves right on by. Jeff Gordon right now is really having a battle as Tony Stewart now moves on in. He has lost about 4 or 5 spots, Eli, in the last 3 laps.
Remember Spencer starting in 40th. Remember, he also was black flagged earlier today. Lap 51 had to make an unscheduled stop to check the lug nuts on the tire.
Boy, what an upset it would be if he could win. Oh, boy.
You see Terry Labonte's numbers starting 27th. Back in 1995 here, the day that Jeff Gordon missed that shift late in the day. And folks, don't count out Dale Jarrett, who restarted 16th. He's up to 9th now. While we're watching this battle for the lead, Jarrett very quickly moving up to the front. He's 2.4 seconds back. You see him right there in the 88, very much in the picture now.
Yeah, he's looking him over right now. This car is absolutely flying with 4 fresh tires, as you just said. You see John Andretti couldn't even put up a battle there as he just drove right up under him. A lot of power in that number 88 as he moves in on Tony Stewart now.
And those tires are a big help. To go.
Well, I can tell you this. If they get by the 23 of Jimmy Spencer, they will earn every inch of the real estate that they use to get by him, because he is one of the most tenacious drivers that's ever been behind the steering wheel.
A lot of nervous folks around the Poconos now trying to figure out exactly who's doing what. They go around Wally Dolan back. Father's Day, there's Ed Spencer.
Yeah, Jimmy's dad.
And Ed Spencer can outrun 80% of the people that's out there right now. Tremendous driver.
That's quite a shot with the Pocono in the background, the American flag over the top of his head.
On Father's
Come
Day,
on, Jimmy.
Come on, son, you can do it.
You can tell he's pulling for him. Ed Spencer's in every one of his son's races.
They were trying to figure out how many dirt track races Ed Spencer had won, and they just give up after a while. He just won a ton of them.
The whole family, brothers, cousins, all involved in racing. Wally Dallenbach's taking the Budweiser car to the garage. If you're keeping tabs on him after the early accident today, Wally's going to park it. He's in 38th spot, done for the day.
He made a whole bunch of pit stops recently and just decided that's it.
Yeah. Bobby Labonte making a move on Earnhardt as they head down towards the last turn there. Number 3 makes the pass.
Got the pass.
He's got it.
So Labonte now in 4th. Earnhardt back to 5th. Gordon in 6th.
Earnhardt's had a good run today, though, hasn't he? He really has been strong all day long. With a race car they thought this morning was not going to be all that good.
Dale's run this racetrack well at times, and at times it has not been a good one for him. As you see, Tony Stewart powering with Jarrett. That's 7th and 8th spot. Just tuning in, Jimmy Spencer is the leader. Took the lead from Gordon at lap 172 with this maneuver.
Okay, they're looking down the back straightaway. Jimmy Spencer in the 23 there pulls even as they head down Long Pond straightaway. Now this is a one-groove racetrack going into the tunnel turn. Watch Jimmy Spencer just stay in the throttle. Jeff Gordon on the outside, he says, I'm not worried. 8 tires work better than 4.
And that was lap 172 as Spencer took the lead. But he does have a snarling group right behind him. Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, Bobby Labonte and Earnhardt, Gordon Stewart, Jarrett and Andretti.
Mark Martin looking to the
inside like that.
Yeah, but say one thing about the 23 car that Jimmy Spencer had. It seems to run well up out of the corner on the high side of the racetrack.
3rd spot, swap it around, give it to Bobby Labonte. He'll grab it away from Sterling Marlin.
Remember, Labonte has got 4 fresh tires as he heads to the front.
He came in at lap 168 and took on the the good years.
Saw that gear shift lever Labonte's car in what's supposed to be third gear position. He'll drop her down into overdrive at the fourth, coming down the front straightaway. Look at that.
Ed Spencer, he's working harder, I think, than Jimmy, or at least as hard.
Oh, yeah. I hope he can't talk to Jimmy with that radio.
Well, that'd be quite a Father's Day gift if he could win with his father here like that. I tell you, that's a very special time in a race driver's career when your dad's here to be with you and want to circle and everything.
Yep.
Oh!
Look at this scramble for second.
Taking all the racetrack, and of course the car in front does have the advantage of being able to take the race to the line.
Steve, I don't know if you have an eyeball on Ed Spencer, but he's doing quite a dance for us on the TV screen.
Well, Eli, he's right behind me. I've known Big Ed, as they call him, for a long time, and I asked him if he'd talk to us, and he just shook his head and said, I'm too nervous to talk. And as Buddy said, he's one of the greatest racers in this part of the country, or the country for that matter. Great modified racer.
One of the very best. Sixth place is a good scramble ongoing as well. You've got the 20 of Tony Stewart, the 24 of Jeff Gordon, Dale Jarrett.
Well, I tell you, since the clouds got on this racetrack, Jeff Gordon has really had to fight to keep his positions there. Tony Stewart got sideways there coming out of the corner.
That could have been a big wreck right there. Nice job, guys.
Meanwhile, the lap's just not counting down quickly enough for the front bunch.
Jarrett keeps trying to get by Tony Stewart. He's tried him lap after lap and just can't get past him.
We've got a breakaway for 60 seconds, and we're coming right back to resume the story. Everybody watching, Donnie Wingo, Ray Evernham, waiting for this one to finish. A Ford. Then the Pontiac. That's a good battle for the lead. Welcome back to Pocono. Jimmy Spencer, Mark Martin, Bobby Labonte. Labonte might still be the quickest car on the racetrack.
Absolutely. As he moves to the inside of the 6 car there, Mark Martin, he's a rocket ship down the straightaway. Jimmy Spencer has some more problems to deal with.
Remember Dover with the fuel mileage. Jimmy Maycar's brilliant pit strategy. Here they brought him in for 4 tires. Jimmy Maycar again has put his driver in position to win another Winston Cup race.
Let's listen as he comes off the corner towards the straightaway. Jimmy going to the inside, weaving back and forth there. You don't want to give Bobby Labonte a long run where he has time to think about how to pass it.
Got a lot of laps to keep him back there.
That might be some trouble for Bobby Labonte right there. I noticed the car took off out to the outside groove just then. He drove it in awfully hard, but look at the straightaway speed.
17 laps from the finish. Stewart inside of Earnhardt for 6th.
And Dale Jarrett goes right along with him as Earnhardt loses 2 spots getting in the tunnel turn over there.
All of these little storylines unfolding behind Jimmy Spencer. And no one has ever come further from the back to win than potentially Spencer was today, starting 40th. You see Labonte just sliding up a little bit.
Couldn't keep it down there.
One thing they have right now is a taller rear spoiler, and they've had in a long time. Even though the front part of the race car is closer to the racetrack, I have heard people say that behind another car, if you're a certain amount of distance back, you get a little front end lift because of all the rear spoiler these cars have.
Tell you, Bobby Labonte is probably quicker, but getting by Spencer is going to be a handful and a half.
How do you say take a bone from a pit bull? I don't think so. It's going to be tough.
Oh, problems for Bill Elliott. We're riding with him, and smoke you can see behind the car. Tough break for Bill Elliott in 22nd spot and faltering now. You hate to see that. He had a good day going.
Yeah, he pulled off on the return road there. Get out of the racing groove, so there shouldn't be any moisture or anything in the racing groove itself.
Brother Ernie says, just give us a little time. The crew is still green. He says, give us 4 more races, and you're really going to see some action on Bill Elliott's team.
You see the red light on there?
Yeah, the red light, that means there's no power right then. It's not.
Spencer just bounced her off the wall.
Yep, that's all she took. Poor Jimmy. Caution.
Maybe there was a little bit of oil.
On the speedway. Caution on the speedway. Ed Spencer looking on. Jimmy gets back in line. It happened right around the spot where Bill Elliott had problems and pulled off the racetrack. Caution. Lap number 185.
Eli, you're exactly right. Going down the back straightaway, the 94, Bill Elliott had his problem. He tried to get over as far as he could, but on that particular corner, the tunnel turn itself, you run right on the bottom of the racetrack.
And this is only the 4th race in Pocono history with 10 or more cautions. The record is 13 from a decade ago. This is the 10th caution flag of the afternoon. Unbelievable. Watch it again. You'll see what happened. Spencer, wide.
Oh, just touched it.
Just did touch it.
I'll tell you, I was watching the cars behind him, though, and I didn't see anybody else get sideways. He just looked like he went in there very, very hard and got in the gray part of the racetrack and slipped up towards the outside wall.
Did a good job of saving it, but he lost 2 spots in the mix.
Well, Steve Burns, that was a heartbreaker.
I just spoke to Travis Carter, the owner of this team, Eli, and he said that Jimmy had radioed in and said that he got into some oil or some kind of liquid. You know, don't know if that came off of Bill Elliott's car, but anyways, he said he did get into something slippery on the racetrack.
Well, there's your answer.
There you see they're putting the Speedy Dry down.
You see how close to the inside of the racetrack they're putting that stuff down. I mean, Bill got over as far as he could, but wow.
So we're under caution, and Ed Spencer sees what could have been a wonderful day potentially end in the Pocono wall.
Pretty lucky in the sense that he could have tore the race car.
Well, Ralph, Bobby Labonte got him.
He did, Eli, and I just spoke to his crew chief, Jimmy Maycar, to ask him what the situation is with the car. He says they're not hearing anything back from Bobby. They do not know if the car is tight or loose. He hasn't commented at all. The only thing they're sure of is that they have enough fuel. Glenn Jarrett?
Well, Ralph, that's exactly the question right now for Mark Martin as well. But Jimmy Finning, Mark's crew chief, told Mark to stay on the racetrack and follow the 18, do exactly what the leader did. So they're still pushing it. They're still cutting it close, but they could not give up track position. Meanwhile, Dale Jarrett made that impressive run up after that pit stop a while ago. Now the car has developed a very severe push, and so he's just having to fight and get a position whenever he can. They wanted to stop, but again, couldn't give up track position.
1 to go is the signal from atop the flag stand. You see Rodney Wise putting 1 finger in the air and waving the unfurled yellow. That's the 1 to go signal.
Eli, I was watching Jeff Gordon. He dropped all the way back to 9th spot wrestling that race car, and as he ran along, the racetrack come back to him, and he's all the way up to 4th now.
What a run Bobby Labonte is having in the last few weeks. You think about it, last week he was 5th at Michigan. He won Dover, 2nd at Lowe's, 3rd at Richmond, 3rd at California, 4th at Talladega. They are good everywhere. Top 5 virtually everywhere. Lead virtually everywhere. This is the stuff of which championships are made.
And they were kind of concerned about Pocono because historically it's not been a good track for Bobby. Only top 10 in 12 previous visits here was 4th last July.
But they learned something in that 4th, and they plugged that into this race car, and look at where it's gotten them.
And I'll tell you something else. They got a lot from Tony Stewart coming up here testing also. That's the value of 2 cars that tested.
Good point. Good point. 12 laps from the finish. Field forming up on the Long Pond straightaway, heading to the tunnel turn.
We've had some attrition here in this one. 9 cars.
Have a lengthier race than usual at Pocono. Always do, because caution laps here take, forever.
Eli, it takes a long time when you're qualifying here to get around this racetrack, and when you think about 52, 53 seconds to get around here full song, you can imagine when you're out there running behind a pace car how long it takes.
Yeah, we've had 43 caution laps already.
Yeah, but we've needed that to catch our breath today. I mean, there's been so much stuff going on, especially at the front of the pack. It's not so bad to just sort of be able to settle back, take it all in, and get ready to go again.
It's amazing. 1 week ago, Glenn, not a single caution. And now 43 laps worth here this afternoon.
Yeah, there have been a lot of cautions. It's really jumbled things up. We've had an exciting race, but one thing we're hearing right now from a lot of the contenders, Mark Martin, as I told you, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon's car, not like he wants it. There's a big cloud cover right here. The temperature has dropped down probably 8 to 10 degrees. It's very, very cool. That has tightened these race cars up. Here we go for the green flag.
11 laps to settle the Pocono 500. Let's see how badly that little touch to the wall damaged Jimmy Spencer's car, whether he can get around Mark Martin or Bobby Labonte. But he has to deal with Jeff Gordon first.
Yeah, Jimmy Spencer's looking to the inside of Mark Martin right there. As Jeff Gordon pulls to the outside, and they head down the back straightaway side by side. Looks like Jeff Gordon got the jump.
So Spencer settles in fourth. Bobby Labonte by a couple of car lengths. Let's see what Spencer's got. Look at Jarrett. Here's Marlin in the 40. Jarrett in the 88.
Bobby Labonte taking off.
Look at Dale Jarrett on the outside on Marlin there, trying to make that pass coming off the corner. He passed him on the outside, so the car must be dialed in pretty good for Dale Jarrett.
Mike Skinner just nudged the wall coming out of the corner a moment or so ago. He has continued on. There you see Skinner, and there was a little tire smoke we just saw as he came off that corner. That was that puff of smoke you saw. He must have caved the sheet metal in. There, you see it right there. That's tire smoke off the right rear. Skinner back in 21st spot now.
Running a very high line, and the right front wheel looks like it's out under the fender there a little bit. He's got a lot of damage to that car.
So he'll be coming in to make a pit stop here. Matter of fact, his number's up on the board. He'll be black flagged by NASCAR. Here's a good move for Jarrett. He and Spencer battling.
Spencer getting that great drive back on that high line as he heads down the back straightaway there.
Jimmy's got some horses under the hood.
Yeah, he does. He is running high when he comes out of that corner. He is using every inch of racetrack.
Yeah, but he used the wrong line down the back straightaway there. He got caught on the outside, had to back out, and Jarrett took the spot.
All of this is 1.5 seconds behind the leader, Bobby Labonte.
Here comes Kyle Petty in 44. He's running very, very fast right now, but
Kyle is not on the lead lap. He's a lap down in 22nd.
I'd speculate that Jimmy Spencer probably damaged the car when he brushed the wall up there. Maybe the toe end knocked out a little bit. The car's not driving like it did before he got in the wall.
Been a while since we've seen a Pontiac up front near the end of a race here at Pocono. There's the Ford of Martin in second and the Chevy of Gordon running third. This would be the first Pontiac win here since Kyle back in June of '93. There you see it right on the screen. Caution on the speedway. The short shoot from turn 2 to turn 3. You've got Ward Burton there. You saw Kenny Irwin on the grass.
Oh, man, a lot of damage to Ward Burton's car.
Caution for the 11th time. Lap 193. Oh, a whole bunch of guys there up against CMC. inside. John Andretti didn't miss that wrap.
No, he got caught in that one. Ward had a good run today until this.
You saw Irwin, you saw Andretti. Well, that's a heartbreaker, too. 7 laps from the finish. Now, as long as it takes to get around here under caution, we should be able to get that area cleaned up by NASCAR. We see Johnny Benson involved as well. Let's go to Glenn.
And Ward Burton was also involved. The whole nose is caved in on the Pontiac. There is mud, grass, dirt, and water all coming from the front of this car. He is really bashed in. I have to suspect that the water we're seeing is coming out of the radiator. With all that damage, he would have had to have punctured something there. So tough break. He had a good race car all day long. Got caught back in that traffic, and looks like this might be the end of it for the day.
Eli, that's definitely the radiator, and what happened there, it hit so hard it just shoved it right back into the motor. Look at John Andretti's car. The rear end housing turned completely left in it.
They're going to have a real tough time trying to square that over.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it'll take to make a few caution laps here, there's not enough time certainly to fix a radiator for Ward.
No, I don't think so. It's really pushed back there, and all the water's running out of it, so it'll tear the motor up. They're pushing it back towards the pits as we speak.
Yeah. Johnny Benson is on pit road, too, and his car not tracking well. He has that flat that you see, but it's a lot worse than that. He's going right to the garage area. So Johnny Benson going to park it. See what happened there on the short chute. Banking off the wall.
Ward Benson tangled together. See John Andretti backed it into the wall.
We'll see what Kenny Irwin saw here. Let's watch. It was already taken place. We saw him go through the grass.
Wow.
You hear the car bottom.
Yeah, it's bottoming out. We'd go through the grass, and we'd hit the table, and then it'd hit the paved part over there and jump and squall and carry on as he went across through there.
So, the attrition list really growing now. Rusty Wallace, Joe Nemechek, Dave Marcus, Dick Trickle, David Green, Michael and Darrell Waltrip, Wally Dallenbach, Bill Elliott, Ward Burton, and Johnny Benson, all in the garage. And remember this, folks, that Ward was one of only 3 drivers with no DNFs this year. He'd been around at the finish of all the races, along with Schrader and Bobby Labonte, and it looks as though that little exclusive club will be down to just a couple of members when this day ends. Jimmy Fennick's drivers, Mark Martin, they're in second with the laps winding down. All right, here's the situation at Pocono. Right now, the field is getting the 1-to-go signal. At the same time, they're getting 5 laps remaining in the race. So when they come back around, there will be 4 laps of racing to settle it. And obviously, inside the final 10 laps of the event, there is NASCAR's 10-lap rule. And there'll be single file restarts here among only the lead cars. John Andretti's bunch has been, he's doing more skating than the Stanley Cup champion Dallas Stars. But he has made it around the racetrack, skating around with, what, a broken Panhard bar?
Well, the track bar in the back, you can see it's just turned sideways down the straightaway there. He's just trying to get it back to the pits right now. The rear end housing's just floating around back there.
But he made another lap. Andretti is in 24th. He's a lap down now. There you see the top 5. Spencer there in 6th. Steve, how significant was Jimmy's little bump with the wall there? It didn't look too bad. How tough has it hurt the Winston car?
Well, I asked them, Eli, and they said that he just barely grazed the wall. What they were concerned about was that in clean air out front, he was very fast, but once he got past and got behind, that he picked up the aero push that Buddy Baker's been talking about. So The truth of the matter is it's probably a combination of hitting the wall and that aerodynamic problem.
Yeah, a touch to the wall never helps.
No, that's if it did, they'd just go into the wind tunnel and run it in the wall. So, yeah.
Any way you look at it, he has gone from first to sixth.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, but he sure gave him something to cheer for while he was up there. Hey.
Had he won, they would have torn the Mattioli's new grandstands down.
I was going to say 17,000 seats would have gone home with the fans. Never mind staying here for the next race.
All right, folks, it'll be 4 laps of racing to settle it as we wrap up our 11th caution and our 46th caution lap here at Pocono today.
Are you ready?
What's the old saying? Bigger fish now.
Clear all around.
I guess.
LePage, Mayfield, everybody looking for any opening. LePage is 11th, Mayfield is 12th. They got great runs going. Second place.
Gordon did it on the high side.
Jeff Gordon to the outside. Look at Dale Jarrett on the outside of the 6 of Mark Martin as they head down the back straightaway, Eli.
Bobby Labonte says, keep it up, fellas. But we'll see what Gordon's got now, because he's in the free and clear as you ride with Mark Martin.
Mark lost a couple of spots there. Sterling Marlin in the 40 there just behind Dale Jarrett. He took advantage of when Dale Jarrett and them were fighting there for position.
Well, one thing Gordon's got are tires that are older than Bobby Labonte's tires, and you can see that. Oh, gee.
My goodness. Spencer and Mayfield. And Jimmy loses that exchange again. The momentum, it'll take him a while to get going. Well, I guess you got to say you give him an A for effort to try and make something happen. But tough right there. Spencer's all the way back to 12th and fading.
Tony Stewart in 20 now is all the way up to 6th and looking over Mark Martin. Mark just hadn't got back up to full song after the restart here. I don't know whether his car is pushing real bad or what, but he's just not running with the front roof out at the moment.
There you see Andretti. I wonder if he can get off the racetrack. Watch what happened again with Spencer before.
Jeremy Mayfield in 12 on the bottom side there.
That could have been real ugly.
Yeah. Jeremy came up, Jimmy came down. 2 laps to go.
Gordon's moving in on the back bumper there, the 18 car.
Glad Mark Martin was no factor now.
No, Eli, when they went around under that caution, remember I told you he was fighting a little bit of a tight condition. The tires just cooled off a lot. He's still very cool out here, and he just won't run on cold tires. So they're really disappointed here. They thought they had a chance for the win.
Jeffrey Bodine can't make it to the finish. He takes his car to the garage.
That'll be his 6th DNF of the year.
There's Spencer, LePage, Irwin, Rudd, all battling for position. That's 14th on back. Andretti did make it around to the pits. Coming to the white flag. 2.5 miles to go for Bobby Labonte. You ride with the battle in the middle of the pack. Up front, Labonte by a car length and a half. And the blocking game is on.
It is that. You see him swinging to the inside there, the 18 car, Bobby Labonte. The 24, Jeff Gordon, right there. Any little slip right now, and Jeff Gordon would be on him.
Tunnel turn, 1 more corner to go.
It would be Bobby's first Pocono win in his 13th start here. And the first Pontiac win since 1993. Second win of the year. The Interstate Batteries Pontiac wins at Pocono. Bobby Labonte is heading to victory lane. Is Gordon, Jarrett, Marlin, Martin, Tony Stewart, and then a big pack of cars across the line. We'll, of course, set it all for you as part of our post-race coverage. Bobby Labonte wins at Pocono.
He does, and that's the 3rd week in a row that Jeff Gordon spent second.
Jimmy Maycar
was a hard-fought victory here at Pocono.
I tell you, it was a really weird day. I mean, a lot of stuff happened. Early in the race, we thought we were in good shape. We were sitting there, and the car was reacting really well to some of the changes we made. And we made a call. I made a call there to stop and get 4 tires and gas. And after it was all said and done, I thought, man, I just messed up. I made a mistake there. Should have just got gas only. But it played out to work out for us really good. We're really fortunate. The good Lord smiled on us today, and things really worked out. But Bobby's been telling me all week. He said he's come back to his favorite racetrack here, and he sort of said that facetiously because we've had a lot of trouble here and we struggled a lot. But I think Bobby's just figured out how to get around Pocono for sure.
Congratulations on win number 2 of 1999. Eli?
For Jeff Gordon, his 7th Pocono top 2 in the last 8 races. A remarkable streak for Gordon, but he'd rather be in victory lane. Rain and fog has caused the postponement of the Pocono 500 today. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. in the morning, the race will be run, and TNN Sports will be here. Join me, Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Glenn Jarrett, and Dick Bergman. Well, lots of cautions, but lots of storylines. Bobby Labonte is in victory lane here at Pocono. Glenn Jarrett.
And Bobby stands up on it, and I think he's going to give somebody a Coca-Cola bath. He did. Not me, Bobby. Oh, well. And I got it. And his first words were, "This is Pocono." Hey, it's only been 2 weeks ago we met like this. You finally conquered that Pocono jinx, man. Congratulations.
Man, I tell you what, these guys did a great job. I couldn't believe it there at the end. I thought, Jeff was awful quick, was going to catch up to us and get us, but this Interstate Pontiac held on. I thought we were behind there one time when a pit stop got us there, and we were back in position. Never knew what was going to happen there at the end with the caution flags falling and everything like that. But Jimmy made the right call. We come in and got some tires and gas, and this Interstate Pontiac was pretty awesome today.
I'd say it was. It was real good all day. Other than the caution flags there at the end, and watching Gordon in the mirror is always tough, but you really probably felt like you had the car to stay out there.
Well, I felt like I did. I felt like once I was out front, or I could catch the guys, but when I got to them, it was hard for me to pass them. But if I stayed out front, it was pretty good. But, I got to thank MB&A, Centos, Easy Care, Ditch Witch. We did this last time. Champion Spark Plugs, Coca-Cola Planters, Goodyear Tires, and Pontiac. And I know there's some more, Wicks Filters and Circus City. And there's probably a couple others I missed. But what I like to say hi to my dad. Happy Father's Day and all the fathers out there. And let's see, what else? Hey, have a Coke and a smile, man.
Well, thanks for the Coca-Cola bath. Remember, someday, somewhere, you're going to get a Coke down your back. Here's Ralph.
Well, we caught up to Jimmy Spencer, and Jimmy, it was quite a performance out there today. Tell me what happened between you and Jeremy Mayfield that seemed to make the difference at the end.
Well, we bumped there coming off of turn 4, and that really messed us up, and cost us from a top 10 finish. Hit oil. I hate to make excuses, we've had a tough year, and that's just a sign of what we can do as a team, and they did really good today. We got caught with a loose lug nut, and that cost us a lap, and we got it back. And then when we were leading the race, the car was really good by itself there. And anybody that was leading the race was in good shape. You needed to be in the lead, kind of the aerodynamics. And we hit oil in turn 3, the tunnel turn, and got us back to 3rd. And then we just didn't have the ponies to maintain it. And I was pretty hard on my tires too. So they had 3 or 4 laps less on their tires than I did. But I'm just happy, because I feel like we had an opportunity to win, and that's where I want to be. I could care less about where we finish as long as you're contending to win a race.
A lot of turmoil last couple of weeks. How did it feel to be running so good in front of the hometown crowd today?
Man, they were going crazy, I was watching them, and they were cheering, and I think that's special for me. It meant a lot to me, and but then I had to realize that I had some of the best drivers in the world to beat right behind me, and they all raced me good. It was a good, clean race for me on that end, and I just come up short with Team Winston, but we always got next week. No, forget Sears Point. We got the week after that wherever we are.
Eli, up to you.
Well, Jimmy's run Sears Point for years, and it is not his favorite racetrack. Well, that's where they all came home today, and look at old Tony Stewart again. First time here, and look what he does.
Boy, he's good every week, and anybody calls him a rookie, I can't imagine.
Ted Musgrave a good run, finishing in 11th spot as well.
Ted always runs well here. One of his favorite tracks. Got a bunch of top 5s here over the years.
Schrader a tough day, finishing 27th.
And all of these fellas in the garage area before the race ended. Lots and lots of cautions here today. Of course, with Jeff Burton going into the wall early there, and the accident that really shuffles up the NASCAR Winston Cup points.
Yeah, and I'd just like to say to Dave Marcus, if you're watching this, we hope you're well. That was a violent wreck he was in on the tunnel turn over there. We wish him well.
There's how the points stack up. A look at that. Burton will drop from a relatively tight second to a more distant third. Tony Stewart drops to 6th. But the party begins in the Joe Gibbs pit area as Bobby Labonte gets the victory. Been a good weekend here at Pocono, as per usual. A little unpredictable, a little unusual, but we were glad able to bring it to you. Buddy Baker and Dick Berggren have been alongside me here in the booth, down on the pit lane and in the garage area. Glenn Jarrett, Ralph Shaheen, and Steve Burns. I'm Eli Gold. Thanks for joining us on TNN Motorsports as Bobby Labonte wins the Pocono 500. So long, everybody.